Hi, everybody, and welcome to the FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 38. I am your host, and with me, as always, is my teenage son, Jackson. Say hello, Jack.
Hey.
Beautiful day out there today.
Yeah.
Wearing shorts and t-shirts today.
Yeah.
I think it's almost 20 degrees Celsius.
I would not know.
I know you would not know, but that it is a gorgeous day out, so we're back from our walk. We've got our booster juice, and you had some butter chicken for lunch.
Yep.
With your booster juice.
Yep.
We're ready to talk about a very busy week of wrestling, yes?
Yes.
Busier for me than you because I squeezed in ROH and Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, we had Takeover this weekend. Thursday, lots of action figure reveals, so figuring it out as actually stuff this week.
And just a quick reminder that we did release a WrestleMania week preview show this Monday, so that's already out there. WrestleMania's tonight, so if you didn't check it out, you've still got a chance to check that one out. We'll
probably do either Takeover review and WrestleMania review, or one combined, not sure. We'll review them one way or another.
Takeover, we're talking about
right
now. So Takeover we're going to cover now.
Takeover's now, yes.
WrestleMania we'll definitely cover early
yes, we will probably do WrestleMania as soon as we can.
Yep.
So we usually do.
And good news for us is our April break has started, which is normally called our March break, which I think our American friends refer to as spring break. Due to the pandemic, it got pushed here till April, so, I mean, it officially starts on Monday, but we're into it now.
And Takeover is in place of NXT when we'll do them both nights, right?
Yep. So this week we'll do our normal routine, except NXT will sort of be covering both nights of the pay-per-view Stand and Deliver instead of just their weekly show. So we'll add that in there this week as well. How was your last week of school? Exciting?
Fine. Got the last day off, so.
Yes, we did give them.
And half day on Wednesday because braces.
Braces tightening on Wednesday, and then we just let him take a day off leading into the week off anyways on Friday. Just he's caught up in his work and whatnot anyways. So we've entered yet another level of pandemic, whatever, lockdown mode, right? We were in the emergency break, I think, as they called it last week, and now it's been upgraded again. So we're now to not quite a stay-at-home order, but
because we're just doing so great.
It's the variants now are here, and
honestly, I can't tell how we're ever gonna get out of this.
Distributing the vaccines up here in Canada seems to not be going very smoothly, which I'm not thrilled about. But so we're now, things are open, but only to sell essential goods and only for curbside pickup. So grocery stores you can get into, but even if you go to Walmart, you can only go into the grocery and the pharmacy.
Basically depriving me of any reason to go to Walmart.
Right, no toy section, no anything else. But anyways, so we're just going to keep a low profile this week, as we have been for the last year and a bit, and we'll see how things go. So hopefully things are better in whatever area you're living in, because here we're still under pretty strict restrictions at this point.
We wouldn't have talked about Easter, right? Because we recorded before Easter.
Oh yeah, you got a bunch of new figures?
Oh yes. So let me see if I can remember offhand. So I got Shayna Baszler, Elite 67.
Okay, so he's going to come across as a very spoiled boy here, which is probably true, but his mother went a bit nuts. I think she felt bad about it being this pandemic, and so she got a bit aggressive on the Easter
Shayna
gifts.
Baszler, so finally.
Despite my advice to calm it down, she just kept getting stuff for you.
It was like mini Christmas, not to brag.
Yeah.
Elite AD Bailey, so the recent one, so that's pretty nice. Mia Yim, except it was Stephanie McMahon, some doof.
That happens so much where we buy a WWE figure and somebody has pulled it out and put another figure in.
The funny part is, though, I'd rather get Stephanie McMahon than Mia Yim.
And because your mom doesn't know, she just thought it was somebody you didn't have or whatever, so she grabbed it.
That's true.
It was the wrong person
Her
in the box.
Her hand kind of comes off, but whatever. It's Stephanie McMahon. I got basic 113 Murphy. Buddy Murphy.
Right.
Which is the Disciple gear. Yes. Showdown 2-packs, Series 2. Booker T and Bobbert Lashley, so got a Bobbert.
Yeah, because Mom knew you wanted a Lashley.
I did want a Bobbert.
Yep.
What else? So then I got AEW figures. I got Riho.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hurry up. This is like figuring it out at the beginning.
Orange Cassidy. Pac.
Yes, my favorite.
Yeah, and Nick Jackson, and then we ended up going out to Walmart, and I bought Darby Allin and Matt Jackson, so got the entire Series 3. That's pretty nice.
And you're lucky because you got in there right before toy sections and everything were shut down.
Right, yeah, it was pretty good
under
time.
a week, basically.
And still got AEW Series 2 figs coming, Walter coming.
If they ever come.
I feel like I'm probably missing something, but a good haul for Easter.
We get to talk about Walter today. That's fun for me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to decide now. He might be my favorite wrestler. It's between him and Pac. in the world right
I don't
now.
know my favorite. It's probably still Mox.
It's tough.
Or Hangman.
But anyways, I figured we should get into talking about some actual animated wrestlers instead of just plastic figurines of them.
That's not very polite.
But true. So that will bring us into our first segment every week, which is news and rumors. And I will start off with the ratings again. I think I'll keep doing the ratings, even though it's no longer a Wednesday Night War. But it's interesting
Just to see, like, it's going to be a big change next week, or this week, next week. I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, because I know I've kind of done this long enough now that I know what like a normal rating viewership wise and demographic wise is. So I'm interested to see if it goes up, down, and by how much right next week. So, anyways, this was week 78, and I would call it the final week of the Wednesday Night War, right? So, and it finally saw WWE NXT defeat AEW Dynamite in viewership, but not in the key demographic ratings. So this is the final head-to-head battle for the two brands as NXT is moving to
I thought
Tuesday.
AEW won because I just thought AEW beat NXT, but it's just a demo. And I think this is kind of a tainted victory because literally you have a pay-per-view going up against a show.
It was not only a pay-per-view, but a pay-per-view that is in theory your biggest one of the year because it's on WrestleMania week, right? So they certainly stacked the deck in their favor as best. And why not? I'm not complaining. I mean, we got a pretty entertaining show out of it, as we'll talk about shortly.
Two pretty good shows, I'll say.
But, so the new edition
you had like a theory about that, right?
I did, sort of. It just felt like Vince built this all up to like win on the last week.
Right, and I think that makes sense because like it's really odd that they put Takeover on weekdays.
And when he eventually buys AEW's library and makes the history of AEW versus WWE just and changes it to the way he wants.
Imagine if that happens? I'm gonna be so disappointed.
They'll just focus on they won the last week and they'll never mention anything else.
That just is one such a Vince thing to do, and two, it's just like why else would you put Takeover on like why else would you put a pay-per-view on a weekday when they never do that ever?
As someone who watched the Monday Night Wars like as a fully functioned adult and stuff, and then watching WWE's sort of presentation of their version of how it went down is very interesting to watch. And that's going to be the history going forward, right? Because the actual history will get lost at some point and we'll just have WWE's version.
Right, and then like as each competitor comes down, if WWE keeps doing what they do, they're probably going to keep winning eventually.
Yes.
And they'll just be like lording over the wrestling scene forever.
We'll just
whether Vince is there or not.
I have hope for AEW, A, because it's really good, and B, because the deep pockets of the Khan family, right? Like they're not struggling to find sponsorship and stuff.
They're not like purchasing WWE's stars like left and right,
and they were already like breaking even or even making a little bit of profit, I think, which was not the plan in the first couple years.
If they were able to survive the whole pandemic that early into their existence,
that's a good point.
They're pretty safe for at least the near future.
I hope so. So they did, that being AEW Dynamite, drew 688,000 viewers on TNT, so that was down 1.7%, while the live Takeover Stand and Deliver did 768,000, so what's that, 80,000 more viewers. And that was up 17.4%. So AEW had a 0.28 in the 18 to 49 demographic, which is up 7.7% from last week. Well, NXT drew a 0.22, so they were up 4.8%, but still behind AEW in that demographic this week. So NXT won, but like we're saying, it took a major pay-per-view on WrestleMania week to do it. Good for them, though, and they still didn't win the demographic. What do you have for us?
So first I got Dax Harwood dealing with a minor elbow injury currently. No. So
who was it that had the big bulging elbow?
Kyle O'Reilly.
Oh yeah, Kyle. And that was
like the ball elbow.
Yeah, it was gross. Anyways, on Takeover Night 2, you could see he had some sort of contusion or whatever it's called on his elbow. It was pretty nasty.
Oh.
So I don't think you knew this one, and I sort of put it in here. I guess as the kids say, I'm trolling you with this one. So WWE NXT stars release a new song and music video with a wrestler's fiance. That was the headline. Have you heard this before?
No.
Ready? WWE NXT Women's Tag Team Champion Shotzi Blackheart and NXT manager Scarlett have joined up with singer Harley Cameron, don't know who that is, sorry, to form a new music group.
I just saw Scarlett said something new albums out on Instagram. I was like, what?
With Shotzi, buddy.
Gross.
So the group have released their premiere single called Indestructible along with the video for it.
Oh, God.
So this Harley Cameron is also known as Danielle Glanville, and she is the fiance of NXT wrestler who I've never heard of. Must be a developmental guy, Zion Ginn, I think. So anyways, I included that because I know you want to know everything you can about Shotzi.
I almost want to see that because that sounds all.
You have this sickness where you like to watch bad things on purpose, so I could see you going.
Yeah, I literally the one day at school I was bored, so I listened to Ember Moon's theme 3 times to torture myself.
And you watch Fuller House just because it's awful and it makes you cringe.
Right, and I think it's also because I watch these commentary channels who watch bad movies and stuff and review
I listen to a podcast that only review
bad, so that's
probably
part of it. And also just the name, it's one of those generic, it's one of those like adjective words that you could just plaster on a song and then just write the most generic vague song ever.
It might be pretty gross,
right? It's just like, it's so easy. You could be like invincible and indestructible, like, you know, like
cliched at this point. Yes,
so it's like it sounds so bad, but like
maybe we'll check it out later.
I probably will.
What else do you have?
More details on the possible Lucha Underground revival that I think I mentioned a week or 2 back. Which
I think I support as long as they do it well.
So Lucha Libre FMV, which is I guess some company or whatever, has applied for trademarks to Lucha Underground, which is the thingy.
The logo.
Yeah, the brand, the whatever.
They need the sound
with
effects
the hope
too.
of revival. Yes, they do.
Right, when the logo comes up.
And they're trying to bring back many of Lucha Underground's original people as possible.
A lot of them aren't available.
Right, because you got Pentagon Jr., now Penta L0M in AEW.
Phoenix, no.
Right, Ray Phoenix as well. Jake Strong, now Jake Hager in AEW.
Yep.
King Cuerno.
Yep,
Santos Escobar, WWE, as well as Johnny Mundo.
Right.
And Killshot. And even Matanza
Swerve.
Cueto is now in Japan.
Right.
Jeff Cobb.
So good luck.
So like a lot of the people are, and even like
Cobra Moon is Thunder Rosa.
Really?
Oh my God, we haven't gotten to the point.
And in Helico, Evilise.
Jack and I are slowly working our way through Lucha Underground. He hasn't seen it before. I have a couple times, so we haven't gotten to Cobra Moon, who's really, really bad. And it's Thunder Rosa. Really. So she's obviously super young and green, right? But she was brutal.
Yeah. And we didn't even like her that much when she came to AEW.
Nope, but
so
now
it's
she's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, she's no Britt Baker. But...
So best of luck to them doing that, but I don't know what they are going to do.
I'm fine with them resurrecting it as long as they do a good job. And I don't even care if it's all new people because I love new talent that I haven't seen. So it doesn't matter to me if they get a ton of the people they had before or not.
It would be nice if they can.
For sure. To have some star power for them.
I'm sure they wouldn't have too much difficulty getting the AEW people as long as they can
Andrade. He'd be perfect.
They could La Sombra.
Yep.
They could probably come to an agreement with AEW. They seem to be one of those kind of companies.
Yes, right. The Forbidden Door could open to... I think
Escobar and Mundo and Killshot, Swerve, are going to be difficult.
Right.
I don't think there's much chance, but I think the AEW people, you have a good chance.
Right. What do I have? Jey Uso, I guess that would be yesterday, right? Is the winner of the 2021 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal that
Which
they held.
Which they put on SmackDown because they wanted to cut time.
Yeah, so they're just saying SmackDown's almost part of WrestleMania, basically, right? I guess.
Right.
So he won. All I know, I didn't watch it, is he won the match by eliminating Nakamura last. And it's
apparently
likely
he's had a losing streak.
It's likely meaningless, right? Because I can't remember a single time where winning this match led to anything substantial.
Yeah,
so
let me see. Cesaro won the first one.
Right?
Nothing.
Who
Big
cares?
Show won the second one.
Right.
Baron Corbin won the third one. Mojo Rawley.
Right. Oh yeah. So stars.
Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman.
All people that went on to be the face of the business. Right. So I'm sure this is huge for Jey Uso.
Braun Strowman at least went on to win the Universal title, but as a replacement for Roman and didn't do much. So
he at least got a main event run. Yes.
Yeah, but so you got I don't think Jey Uso's he's decent star power right now, but I don't think this is gonna help or hurt him now.
No, it's kind of nothing.
It's just a Battle Royal. I do like Battle Royals, so I'm kind of disappointed that's not WrestleMania because I probably won't watch it now.
The only reason I included it is because I do consider it regularly part of WrestleMania, so I thought I would throw it in.
And it's newsworthy. They win a regular thingy.
Mm-hmm.
Next, I've got Walter's Stolen UK Championship has been returned.
Yeah, I saw that.
The actual one, because I guess he's been using a not one, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's been stolen in 2019 then, so I'm wondering if it's because they said I wonder if it's the WWE UK title and not the NXT UK title. Because
I even saw pictures and I'm not sure.
In 2019, they wouldn't have had the redesigned NXT UK championship, so I think this would be the WWE UK one.
Probably.
So it's probably not even necessary now, but it's cool. A TikTok user named VNDS Chicago has posted several videos online detailing the whole situation. He returned it, got a replica NXT UK title signed by Walter, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels. And he said he returned it because someone returned his glasses after they lost in Puerto Rico, and he's kind of pay it forward,
man. It's a good way to live.
So this is cool. It's always kind of funny. Yeah. When they lose, I guess
Jericho lost his
right after he won, and that's a shame because I think this
that
title
almost felt like a work to me to get the title in the news a lot. So I'm still not convinced.
This title and the AEW title that would suck because they're both pretty good looking championships. But so kind of interesting, and it was stolen because his rental car was broken and his and his passport were stolen, among other things.
Yeah, that sucks.
Anything else?
I have nothing. You?
Okay. Ace Austin to defend the X Division title against TJP and Josh Alexander at Impact Wrestling's Rebellion pay-per-view.
Right, which is not the one that's happening tonight. In their infinite, we were talking about TNA's
Infinite Wisdom.
Impact's Infinite Wisdom. They decided to go up against WrestleMania.
Right, put like not even a major pay-per-view against Wrestle freaking Mania.
I don't even know what to call them because I don't know. Are they pay-per-views? I always say, are they special events?
It's hard to tell. I honestly.
But anyways, good luck to them, right? Going up against Mania Night 1.
And the WrestleMania 37 set's been revealed as...
Looks cool.
And me being me, this is very nice. They got like big fat Trons and then like these Tron posts.
Cool.
And then there's like a giant pirate ship on top. It looks really cool, yeah. I like that there's the big Trons because that's always really cool. Yep. And I remember WrestleMania 35. I remember just the big flat one.
Yes.
It looks cool, but it's also like, where's the effort there?
Yeah,
I like when they're just like these elaborate kind of like specific ones, like with the pirate ship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was telling you, I'm just excited for WrestleMania. One of the things I'm most excited is just to see a unique set because we've been staring at the exact same thing for. Not that we watch a ton of main roster,
the Thunderdome,
but we try and check it out for like half hour or so most weeks, and it just looks the same no matter what. So A, that being different, and B, people being there. And
that's not you not noticing. It's literally the same for Raw and SmackDown right now.
And people being there. Like, I don't want to be there myself at this point, but selfishly, I would. The entertainment value of having a live crowd reacting is good.
And I think there's even a mini pirate ship. There's like a skull at the front. And I don't know, it just looks really cool. So if you haven't seen it yet, there's a video, I think, literally on YouTube. I think that literally shows it, like a 1 minute video. It looks pretty nice. Or just tune into WrestleMania.
I just saw some pictures of it. It looked cool.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah. Anything else?
Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair confirmed as the WrestleMania Night 1 main event.
Right, and then the opener was, you told me,
the world title.
Yeah, so interesting.
That's odd.
I get it though, because to me, if you're not the main event, the next most important match for me personally is the opener. Because that like sets the tone for the whole show, and even on TV shows, I think the most important is the main event, and to me, secondary is what the opener is. Now I'm not sure if
Drew McIntyre is going to win though, because I feel like if they really wanted to replicate that moment,
of course, it'd be the main event.
So
maybe Bobby wins, which I'm cool with.
Yeah, I want him to win.
Me too.
But, so yeah, that's interesting. Good for them. They can say the women main evented again.
You know how I know you're maturing as a wrestling fan? Because back when you were younger, you would have wanted Drew to win just because you like Drew. But now you're now you can sort of shift with as the wrestlers' characters change and stuff, right? Like before you would have just like, I'm a Drew guy, I want Drew to win. But now you're like, you know what? Lashley's character's been really cool and his group's been cool. So it's cool because you're definitely thinking more about what you're rooting for. Anything else?
Yeah, I remember picking the first time we ever did ballots, just like
you always picked who you liked, right?
No, and I just remember picking Adam Cole in that ladder match because I liked him and I was just really hoping. And then he actually became North American champion. And I was just like, I was like, I actually got it right.
Because there was a time where you would have never admitted that Undisputed Era was kind of boring and not cool, but now you're willing to be like, ugh, they haven't been.
Well, because they were pretty good, because they were heels for the most part.
Oh, they were amazing.
Turned face and had a therapist and had Dexter Lumis.
Got lame.
And my last thing is Davey Richards. It says Dave Richards in the headline, so that's kind of weird. Dave Richards returned to wrestling, officially confirmed. He's returning at a Global Syndicate Wrestling event.
Doesn't sound familiar to me, but he was cool back in the day, although it's been a long time now, but we'll see. Good for him.
Yep.
All right, well, let's transition into our first in-depth review of every episode, and that will be looking at this week's episode of Wednesday night AEW Dynamite.
And so the Inner Circle kind of arrive in the parking lot and all in separate cars just before the intro.
Yeah, and they all have black vehicles, but they're all different vehicles. Like Jericho's is like a super fancy Lamborghini or something, and somebody's got a black Land Rover.
Didn't Hager have a truck, or someone had a truck?
And I think Hager had a pickup truck. I think Guevara was the Land Rover, and I forget. But anyways, they all have black cars of different styles to showcase their personalities, I guess. It looked cool with them coming in, right? It was one of those we don't hear any audio. It's just them getting out and heading towards the building.
And then they hit the intro. And then our opening match is Hangman Adam Page, standard opener, versus Platinum Max Caster.
And one detail that came out of this, I'm pretty sure, and I tried to double check and I couldn't find Caster's age. Not that I looked super hard. But I think during this match, right, we were surprised. They were saying that Hangman is actually younger than Caster. I think they said Hangman is 29 and Caster's 31.
Caster's 31.
Which kind of blew my mind, right? Because Caster's kind of been new on the scene and presented as this just kind of young kid that's new to this.
Yeah, Page is 29.
There you go. Interesting. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just going back to the tab. All right. So Hangman boots Anthony Bowens, who is back.
Yeah, he's back. And his entrance was fun again, right? He had more timely rap lyrics, sort of taking shots at Hangman, and just he's really good at having things that are currently in the news worked into his entrance, and I still enjoy it.
Making him specific about his opponent too.
I enjoyed it again every time.
And then he attacks Caster. Hangman repeatedly slams Caster's face in turnbuckles. I think you know that Caster was stomping the mat pretty hard.
Oh my goodness, to get the sound going, stomping he needed to just calm. He was bringing his knee up like almost to his chest to stomp down on the mat. It was very, very painfully obvious.
Corner stomps by Hangman, fallaway slam by Hangman, suplex for a 1 count by Hangman, corner chop by Hangman, Caster turns it around, hits some corner punches, boot by Hangman, and a running senton for 2. Caster sent into the barricade by Hangman. Bones distracts Hangman, who's then hit with a basement dropkick upon entering the ring. Hangman throws Caster out and hits the springboard clothesline on the apron, and then the slingshot plancha. Caster, he's kind of crushed on the barricade, and Hangman climbs on top of the barricade, hits a clothesline.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Caster avoids kind of like the ring post crotch thingy, and kind of pulls Hangman into the post shoulder first.
Oh, right, that's when he starts selling the shoulder, yeah.
Right. Bowens attacks while the ref is distracted and sends Hangman into the barricade. Wristlock driver by Caster, back in the ring. Clotheslines and a spine buster by Hangman. Corner clothesline by Hangman and an exploder suplex for 2. They kind of have a back and forth on the apron and a kind of backdrop suplex by Hangman on the apron. Bowens distracts Hangman as he goes to the top, and Caster jumps up, kind of fails, and then goes back up.
Oh, the superplex.
And hits a superplex. Yep. Hangman catches a springboard move with the clothesline. Bowens slides in the boombox to distract, and while the ref is getting that out, a chain is slid in. Caster hits Hangman with the chain for 2. Hangman avoids his Caster's, I think it's like mic drop or whatever, the elbow drop.
Yep, that's what it is.
Bowens tries to halt Hangman and fails, and he's able to hit the buckshot lariat for the win in a nice little opener.
Yeah, I thought this was a good competitive match to open the show. Caster continues to impress me because
he's pretty good.
He didn't when I saw him on the indies a lot. Like, his character work was pretty good, but in ring he's definitely improved. I thought the chain was a believable near fall. Like, I was like, oh, because that looks like something that's going to take him out. This match felt old school to me because oh my god, what's their tag team name? The Acclaimed. They were working like super old school heel, right? And it still wasn't enough to beat like the mega baby face in Page. So I liked this. I thought it was a good opener. It wasn't like utterly amazing, but it was a good solid match to start the show.
Right, it's a nice way to start the show.
Yeah.
Next we go to Death Triangle. It's like a promo interview, whatever thing.
Yeah.
So they will be facing off with the Bucks next week, and it's the full Death Triangle. They're back in full force. Yep. Pac's back, so it's going to be him and Phoenix because they won. Part of me
they have the tag shot, right?
Right. Part of me wishes it was Lucha Bros because I think as much as I love Penta, I would rather see Lucha Bros as the tag team if they're going to be in Death Triangle and Pac as the single star. I just think that's how it works. But I mean,
mix and match, I'm fine.
I'm not going to complain about Pac and Phoenix in a team and Penta as a singles guy if that's how it goes. I'm not going to complain about that.
3 of my favorite guys in wrestling, so they can put him in any combination they want to.
Penta might be my favorite. I don't know. I have a lot of...
I know he's up there for you.
I have a lot of kind of favorites. So then the Best Friends come out with Orange Cassidy's new theme. So I guess that's just the theme for all of them.
Pac did not get to say much, right? He got started sort of and... Right, oh, no, they came out right away and then Pac yelled at them. Yeah. Sorry.
And I don't love that, like... I think this theme suits Cassidy, but I wish the Best Friends used their theme. You know, it's like... Dun, 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 dun,
I really like the song as a song, and I think I like it as...
I think it works for Cassidy. I agree. I don't think they should all use it, but I think it works for Cassidy.
I think that's reasonable.
So Cassidy says it's nice to see the Death Triangle back together, and then a series of clips on the Tron plays of Cassidy's match with Pac from Revolution last year.
Yes.
Which was good. I remember liking that.
Yes.
Death Triangle's formation, which was in a Pac Chuck Taylor match, and they attacked them, and I remember because he's like, listen up, scumbags, and he's like, we're Death Triangle, and he's like, and then they say Triangulo de la Muertes.
Right. I appreciated this so much because I tend to forget these
other
things.
Parts of their feud with like attacks and stuff, and I remember the formation, like I kind of remembered it, but it's still like a really good reminder.
And you know what I can't believe I forgot because I loved it at the time, and they showed it in this little package was when Cassidy was on the ramp for whatever reason, and Phoenix just came out of nowhere and kicked him like a jumping kick right in the head.
I remember they used to do that all the time.
Which I loved it, and then I thought, oh yeah, I forgot that. So I really liked this package.
I remember when they were feuding with like the Best Friends, Phoenix would do that all the time, just come and jump and kick someone's head off.
So it's like, this is one of the things I love about AEW. It's like they understand that I don't remember much, and I need to be these, and it's a slick little package and a cool reminder, and it honestly helped me a lot. Otherwise, I would have been like, what's going on here? But I needed that reminder. I loved it.
And both of these factions now are back in full force because Trent's back, Pac's back. Chuck says they haven't forgotten, and Pac says he understands why they're here. They want a shot at the next tag champs, which I thought was a good shot. And I want them to be tag champs. And I like this feud because it will mean that Death Triangle's a heel again.
Yeah. Can you imagine Pac and Phoenix against the Young Bucks? Come on.
I know.
Let's go.
Yes. Pac says they have a lot of work to do, and they are far from worthy, and they should leave. Trent says he was missing in action, but they have the most wins, apparently. Trent says they are only out here to give them a heads up, and the boys are back in town, and they now have an alien. Because yes, Chris Statlander's with them. I think that can work. I think there's potential.
I was hoping she wasn't doing the alien thing.
Me too.
But yeah, I
think this is a better spot to do. And whether this is a tag or trios, I think this will be great.
Yeah, it should be really fun. I thought Pac wasn't quite as angry as I usually like him. I thought Trent seemed a bit nervous, and then my only other critique was that he really made Statlander's addition seem like just a random like a random tacked on thing, right? It's like he basically finished his promo and then went, "Oh yeah, and we've got a woman in there too," and that was it, right? So I didn't think it was the best.
Well, I think she could fit in there though.
I do, but I don't think Trent did the best job of supplying any reason or context for why she's
maybe they'll work on that
in there, right?
Hopefully they will work on that.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to any combination.
Yeah, so I think Death Triangle Young Bucks or Pac and Phoenix Young Bucks, yes. Any like them versus Best Friends, whether it's Cassidy and Taylor, Cassidy and Trent and Taylor, I don't care.
Yep.
That'd be nice. This would be a fire trios match. Get this trios get the trios titles out.
Yeah, that's what I would like.
Thank you. Any way you swing it, I think this feud is good.
It's funny because I don't really believe the Best Friends as like tag team champions, but I believe them as a team that can have awesome matches,
credible challengers
against everybody, right? So yeah,
they can kind of be the Dolph Ziggler of the tag division, where they're good,
but they're
credible.
There.
They're credible challengers. But they're never gonna win.
Feels like that a bit to me.
Which, I mean, maybe more so because I think Dolph Ziggler's had a bunch of stuff. So, like, but I think they would be more believable than Dolph Ziggler would be.
And this tag division is just so deep right now.
Right. But so, yeah, good segment.
Yep. I liked it.
Next we get the return of the Inner Circle. And Jericho says the fans sound great. Jericho says the Inner Circle is back in black. And he purposely fudges up the Pinnacle's name, calls them the Pineapple, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh, the Pinnacle."
Yeah.
which I thought was kind of funny.
Because he has a history of mispronouncing things slightly, right?
Right.
Like
And so
Kirk Angel and just...
Was that him? I thought that was William Regal.
No, that's... Jericho has done this forever, where he just slightly
Purposely?
mispronounces people's names. Yes,
Oh, wait. No, William Regal's Umanga.
Yes. So he would call him like Kirk Angel all the time.
Nice.
For a while.
And he recalls the last time they were in the ring being beaten up by the pineapple. Jericho says it was a wake-up call and they apologized for basically all their wrongdoings, aka face turn.
Yes.
He calls MJF his jerk-off friend, which I thought was kind of funny.
A lot, which I don't know.
It did get a little much, but it was still funny.
But yeah, okay.
MJF said he's smarter than Jericho, and Jericho says he isn't smart. Some things like chemistry. Jericho says he brought MJF in the inner circle to keep him under his thumb, not under his wing.
I love that line.
Which I thought was smart.
A great line.
Like, not making Jericho look like a complete idiot. Right? Jericho says they knew MJF would show his true colors, but MJF turned out to be one step ahead, which again makes them kind of look smart too, because like they were prepared for it, but then makes MJF look smarter.
Yeah, he gets to put MJF over here, right? Which is good.
Like, and makes just like them not look stupid.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Jericho says MJF said he would get better with age, but he says MJF's too impatient to wait to get better. He wants to be better than Jericho now, and he should take baby steps towards being better than Jericho and be better than Peter Avalon or Michael Nakazawa.
Right.
Which I thought was really funny.
I did too.
I wish he had roasted Brandon Cutler again, but that would have been funny.
He's spreading it around a little, I guess.
Jericho roasts MJF's scarf and says MJF can have his clipboard to steal more of Jericho's gimmicks, which I thought was funny.
Yep.
Jericho said MJF always checked what people think of him after matches and promos, and that MJF's a mark. Jericho says MJF will never be better than him, and he knows it, which I thought was funny. And he roasts the Pinnacle, calls Tully Blanchard the third string horseman, I think.
Yeah, which was awesome.
FDR basically interchangeable.
Which I had trouble remembering their names, right? So that's the shot he took, is like, I can't even remember your names right now.
Spears is roasted for aligning with MJF and his blonde mohawk, which is a pretty appropriate roast because like, what the hell's going on there?
Right.
And he basically calls Wardlow dumb and strong, even though he kind of fudged it up.
He did mix that up for sure. He said he had $1 million brain and a 10-cent body, or something. He was supposed to say obviously the opposite of that.
And Jericho says they're going to shove the Pinnacle's heads up each other's butts and make a human centipede, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, a bit much, but okay.
And Jericho says they'll face the Pinnacle in the first ever Blood and Guts match, which was supposed to be over, I think, or just about a year ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Against the Elite. So, honestly, I probably would have rathered the Elite versus the Inner Circle, but we got Steam Stampede in that, so I guess this can work. I'm excited. He says the worst is yet to come. Thoughts?
Okay, so I have many thoughts. I'll try and keep them brief.
Really?
It's going to sound like I didn't like it, but I did. And I thought Jericho was really funny. Clever lines. I like the insults. Most of the insults he pulled out against everybody. The only issue I'm having with this is I haven't fully embraced this team as baby faces yet. They were such strong heels, and then it's just all of a sudden, and it hasn't registered with me. And then Jericho tries to justify it here, right? But it seems kind of lazy to me, especially in AEW, to just go, they beat us up really bad, and then we realize that we've been jerks for the last 6 months. Right?
Kind of like the Undisputed Era, because like when they're being beaten down by like McAfee's group, and they're like, I don't know, it's like, and this is what they were doing to other people. Yeah. So in my opinion, it's kind of like that, although I feel like these guys could probably be better faces than Undisputed Era. And
I think they will be. And that's what I'm saying is over time, I'll eventually forget the issues I have and I'll just embrace them. But for now, I know what you're saying. At one point in this, right, he goes through insulting every single member of this group, which is like a heel thing to do. And then he tries to save it quickly by, at the end of it, he's like, the Inner Circle is going to dominate AEW with the fans behind us, right? It's like, hey, don't forget, just because I sound like a heel here, I'm not.
Yeah, I kind of see what you're saying.
So I thought he was funny. I thought the insults were good. I just need some more time to like forget about the recent history of this. And I think
maybe they'll improve. I think maybe they just had to kind of quick change, and that happens. I think maybe they'll get into it. Like they'll fix it.
I'll forget about this. It's just my one little critique. But yes,
I also really liked the promo. I thought Jericho was fired up. He was clever. He was funny, and he reminded everyone.
One to speak, right?
Right. Yes, and he reminded everyone why he's one of the goats of this business. I think. The promo was great, and the other guys didn't do anything, but I don't think they really needed to.
Nope.
I think you raised some good points, but I think overall this is really good. I'm excited for Blood and Guts. It's basically their take on War Games, but still, I'll take it. It's interesting.
Yep, for sure.
I hope they give us that's gonna be one of their super card dynamites. Yeah. Maybe so if Death Triangle win the tag titles, that's where you can book the best friends match, or even if it's a trios match.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that should be fun.
No, I thought that was an entertaining promo overall.
Christian Cage interview. No thanks.
Is it just me, or was he overacting here?
Probably.
I found it a little obnoxious, but anyways, go ahead.
I find him obnoxious, period.
I don't usually, right? But there's something, anyways, you talk about the content,
So
I guess.
Cage says he felt last week was the culmination of a year's hard work. Cage says Kaz took him to the limit, and he loved it. Cage says people were awing at Kaz's performance, but Cage knows how good Kaz is, so he wasn't. Taz interrupts, and Taz says Cage has been absent for a while, and he wants to recruit Cage to Team Taz, because he can help them, and they can help him. And Taz tells Cage to sleep on it, and I don't care.
Yeah, I find his character so far to be kind of like this one note, I'm the wise, grizzled veteran sort of thing, and I found him here, it was like he's trying too hard or something. And Taz is I like Taz anyways, but on AEW, he's really filling this role for me lately where he interrupts people that I don't want to hear speak. So, he's interrupts Sting a bunch, and he just other...
That's true, he's doing me
I've noticed
favor.
it before that he interrupts what I'm always like, yes, Taz, thank you. And I've thought that many times over the last few months.
That's
so
true.
I didn't love Cage here. I can't even quite put my finger on it. I felt like he was trying a bit too hard, and then it's basically I'm the experienced, grizzled veteran, and I don't know. Didn't work for me here.
And I do not understand why on earth you would want to recruit Christian Cage.
That's the other issue I have, is I don't see him being a fit for Taz's group, but I guess Taz is just selfish, and he wants his group to be stronger, and if the more people is better, then I don't know.
Yeah, but I think you could be recruiting better people.
I agree.
We get Jurassic Express versus Bear Country, the quote-unquote Godzilla versus Kong match, air quotes.
They really tried to shoehorn that in a bunch of times.
God, it's because they're animals, and they're big animals, and they're feuding like Godzilla and Kong.
And that movie's out.
Yeah, I don't care about that movie.
Yeah, me either.
Like you said, it's probably just a bunch of fights. And,
I think it is a lot of that.
Yeah, which if you like it, cool. I don't. So Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy kick Boulder out of the ring.
Really fast start.
I did borrow some notes from the John Report, but I think he actually messed up which Bear Country guy's which, so I had to
fix that for him.
I usually fix it up because he's got them in the past tense, right?
Yeah.
And we usually like to put our notes in present tense.
Yeah.
So anyways, there's that. And Jungle Boy hits 2 suicide dives onto Bronson, who's the long-haired one.
Right.
And Boulder is the bigger one, which makes sense, with the ginger beard. Jungle Boy jumps onto both Bear Country guys, and then Luchasaurus runs the ropes and hits a dive over the top onto Bear Country. Boulder is able to take control with a running splash on Luchasaurus. Jungle Boy tags him with a dive, but is caught by Boulder. Luchasaurus tries to dive on, but they kind of botch the spot.
I'm pretty sure he was supposed to catch Luchasaurus, which is a pretty big ask because that's a huge guy and he's already holding him.
Shouldn't Luchasaurus be the one being held and he catches Jungle Boy?
You would think, but I think whatever was supposed to happen didn't.
Right, because they passed it off as a failed crossbody.
And then he just went, he just bounced right off.
Which I guess is all you can really say in that spot.
And then he just turned and hit a powerbomb.
Right, which I think would happen. I think it was supposed to be the Ray Rose spot where he's got him in the slam and the powerbomb.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's supposed to be that. Although the War Raiders do it smart because he's holding him in the slam, and then Hansen, I almost called him Ivar, puts the guy on his shoulders, and then it works.
I think it's a big ask to catch this guy while you're already holding a grown man.
Right. And then he hits a powerbomb, like you said. So I think this is after a commercial break. Boulder tags in. Jungle Boy avoids a double team and gets the hot tag. Big flurry by Luchasaurus. Headbutt by Luchasaurus. They kind of battle on the top rope. Superplex by Boulder. Jungle Boy breaks the pin. A tornado DDT to Bronson by Jungle Boy. Fireman's Carry Slam by Luchasaurus, which looked pretty cool. But Bronson uses Jungle Boy to break the pin. A backpack cannonball by Bear Country was cool. Was interesting. Yeah,
that was unique.
Bronson tags in Boulder, sent out of the ring by Luchasaurus, chokeslam and standing moonsault for the win. Like way to make them look strong. By Luchasaurus and Jurassic Express get the win.
So I wasn't super impressed with Bear Country, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and them losing to one of like Luchasaurus' standard kind of moves, it makes them look not better.
I've said this about some other wrestlers before, and it's super nerdy to say, but if you watch them closely, and I don't know how to express this better than this, watch them closely when they're not delivering their offense, because most of the time the offense looks good, but like the stuff that when they're not doing that, when they have to sell, when it's just timing stuff with the other team. And what I really noticed is when they go to execute the moves that they're intentionally going to miss, you know what I mean? Like when they're supposed to miss a clothesline or miss this or miss that, it looks really bad. And later on, there's somebody who I made a note of does a really good job of it.
Right, because anyone can do kind of like decent offense.
Right. It's all that little things
Which
in
I think
between.
was one of your early complaints about Wardlow, right?
Yes, it was. That's one of my examples, and I want to say maybe Dak Draper too on Ring of Honor. But it's just one of those things that I guess
Wardlow's improved
being a super mega nerd of wrestling fan is that I just feel like your offense looks good and then everything else needs to get better.
Mm-hmm.
But they might not be very experienced. I don't know anything about them. They're two big guys. I wasn't thrilled by them.
Mm-hmm.
So this match was okay.
Yeah, I didn't love them either. And like I said, way to make them look strong, losing to an average move that Luchasaurus does all the time. The match I think it was okay, but I didn't love it too much. I think it was kind of slow at times, and it was short and didn't have much action. It doesn't help that I don't know much about this team.
Nope.
And what I saw here did not impress me, and made it really harder to get invested in this match.
And because if you're not watching the online material, then you don't know much about Bear
and
Country.
I don't think I'll be watching Dark or Dark Elevation, so
nope.
I don't really know much about Bear Country. Don't feel like I after this I don't feel like I need to.
I would say potential, but I wasn't impressed.
Yeah. Next we get QT Marshall promo, and he says the moniker for Cody should have been "Do the Work for Me,"
right?
Which I thought was funny.
Yep.
And so he's talking with his new group at the Nightmare Factory in Georgia. I feel like that's where they were. You know how they were like in the small place in Georgia when they were taping?
Yeah, could be.
I feel like that's where this is.
That would make sense. They probably have that building.
Or maybe they used it as the Nightmare Factory after they were done taping. Anyways, Marshall says, while Cody was playing second fiddle to Ted Jr. or painting his face, Cody knew he wouldn't amount to shizzle.
This is good, taking shots at him never achieving anything in WWE, I like.
Yeah, my boy Stardust.
Yep.
Marshall says Cody went to the Indies to surround himself with vanilla midgets. I feel like Kevin Nash said that.
That is a Kevin Nash line, correct.
Right. Marshall calls Cody bargain brand Sting, I guess, when he was Stardust, maybe? I guess
so, yeah.
Or, I don't
just
know.
In general of his, like, status, I don't know.
Marshall said Aaron Solo will never be known as somebody's boyfriend. Used to date Bailey, almost got married to her.
Yeah, I heard that after the fact, yeah.
I don't know if they're still together. Don't know, don't care. And then he mentioned also Komoroto will not be just a big man, and also Anthony Ogogo. That's his name. Ogogo actually talked a bit. He said he's a star that knocks people out for pleasure, and he's like, what is he, famous in Australia or whatever or something, or UK?
I think he's UK. He sounded like he had some good charisma. Yeah. I thought. I've never heard of him.
And Marshall said that this is his factory, so
yeah,
maybe they're called the factory.
So I think the idea, right, is that QT is going to lead a faction, but instead of holding them back and making himself the focus of everything. And so that's my only problem with this. I thought this was by far the best thing QT has done.
I thought it was really good, yeah.
But I completely agree with him, and he's supposed to be a heel. That's the only problem, right?
It's like...
He's not wrong, I don't think.
It's good to be a good heel, but like it's almost there's like kind of a fine line between heel logic and like the heel making sense. This is the heel making.
I want the heel to make sense.
You have to have and where you could see it from his point of view, but not where like he's right.
Like, and I don't want to say he's like, objectively right, but I agree with him.
Right, like and I think there should be like heel logic there, and honestly I don't really smell the heel logic. I just smelled logic.
But I still liked it. Like, I thought QT was cool. And again, I love seeing new guys, so I get that these are, you want to say jobbers or inexperienced or whatever, but it's not like they're being thrust into the main event. They're going to be low card. I got time for this, so I thought QT was good here.
I feel like if they made dark titles or something, because like, you know how New Japan Strong?
Yeah.
just has their own title now, they could do that.
Or they'll mostly be on Dark and Dark Elevation, and they can be occasionally.
I think once like all these stars now, like it might be a while, but like once like Paige is there, established in the main event, like I think eventually these guys will have their time at least in the mid card.
Yep.
Right, or if they even create like a lower mid card title, like I don't know what you would do, maybe an open weight title,
something like that. Yeah,
but
it feels like Cody's been trying to get his buddy QT some sort of role on the show, and this
which
I
is
think
the opposite of what they're playing on TV.
Right,
but...
I think this is the most interesting QT's been, so I have some time for this.
Yep. Next we get Sting, aka No Thanks.
My first note is, and this is true, Shivani calls out Sting, and I make a face involuntarily. Like, I literally caught myself, like, rolling my eyes or whatever, right? Like, just, of course, here he comes.
It's like, we got away with it for a couple weeks, but we should have known he was coming back.
Yeah,
he should have known.
Here he is.
Thankfully, he's cut off by Jake Roberts. And Roberts says it's always the same thing. They interrupt, and Sting does nothing and stays quiet, which I would appreciate very much.
Yep.
Archer comes in and grabs the mic, and he says he's sick of the AEW agenda. He says he's always in the main event once, and then he goes away. Kind of like he faced Mox, and then he's gone.
He's right.
He gave even Cody, he was gone from the TNT television after that.
He actually summarized his time in AEW fairly accurately, right? I thought.
He says everyone will pay attention to him, and it's his time. Sting grabs the mic and tells Archer to shut up. Yeah, that's smart. Old man telling big, strong guy to shut up.
But Archer doesn't do anything about it.
Right,
That's
he
what
looks
I didn't
stupid.
like here.
Sting says he agrees and says Jake should tell Archer how to do it. Sting says he has it in him and he needs to go and do it. And what the hell was the point of this?
One thing I thought was funny, right, is we just had a segment with all these young talent I'd never heard of, and then the next segment is Shivani, Sting, and Jake Roberts out there. But anyways,
with Lance Archer on the side, Archer looks like an idiot.
I thought Archer was good in the stuff he said.
No, I thought he made a good point. Like you said, he summarized really greatly.
And then he gets right in Sting's face, looking like he might just attack Sting right there, and Sting snatches the mic away from him.
And what does Archer do?
And tells him to shut up, and he does nothing.
And Archer's like, well, oh, you told me to shut up? Well, okay then.
So I had an issue with that. I if they had just stopped with Archer getting in Sting's face, I was okay with it. And then it kept going, and I thought Archer looked weaker and weaker as it went. He's called the Murder Hawk Monster, and he gets in a guy's face and threatens him, and then does nothing about it, basically.
Like, how Murder Hawk are you going to be?
And this other thing about Sting offering mentorship to a guy who's been in wrestling for like over 20 years is kind of a bit silly too.
Roberts?
No, like the Murder Hawk. It's not like he's a new wrestler.
Oh, right.
He's been wrestling since like
he's been like in
early
TNA,
2000s.
WWE, yeah.
So I don't know. It's not like this kid
that would be
needs...
like 20 years now. That's weird,
right? So anyways, I had
like give or take 20 years.
I had some issues with this, but it had Sting. I can say that I've been impressed with Archer speaking the last like 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah,
so.
But he's involved with Sting.
I used to have him in my bad promo column, but maybe he moves over into the okay promo column now.
Acceptable promo column. Next we get Team Taz. Starks cuts off Taz like basically immediately and says he thinks Cage should talk because he won their tag match on Dark. Which just I guess gives him speaking power. Taz says no, and Starks is trying to instigate again, and he tells Starks to stop doing that and they need to get on the same page, and they have a recruitment opportunity in Christian Cage. Yeah, right.
You summarized it beautifully. I just had it was to acknowledge the lingering issues between Cage and Starks, it seems.
I don't really care about this.
That Taz is still like the dad of the group telling the kids to behave, and that same question you asked, I just have, why would they want Christian? Other than it's just sheer numbers and whatever.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know how much I really care about the storyline. I hate to say it, but I honestly don't know.
It's not super interesting to me either. I mean, maybe...
I think Cage is a great fit here. I think even Starks is an okay fit. I honestly don't know why any of them really need to leave the group. Like,
and I mean, in my opinion, the group hasn't accomplished enough to really have... Why do we care? Like, this is not a super amazing... what have they done other than make up a title? They made up a title, Dad. Come on. So I agree, not the strongest thing, but... I'm hopeful because I like Taz and I like Cage.
Yeah,
I like most of them, actually.
Hoping this maybe Starks gets ousted.
Yeah.
Or like, because I don't know if Cage...
Hobbs has done nothing.
I feel like Cage... Yeah, like, why is he there? And Cage could be a face, I guess, because he was an Impact. And Hooked is a little more jacked.
And the crowd does tend to want to cheer for Cage's crazy offense, right? Some of the stuff he does is
I feel like the machine gimmick and just his big, strong, dominating presence, that works as a heel. So,
but his face persona, then he does more of his high flying because he can do that too, right?
That's true.
So he can hit moonsaults and stuff like that.
I forgot he can do that.
Oh yeah, he can.
I forgot. Yeah, he can. He's basically like one of those Keith Lee guys. Can't Michael Elgin do moonsault or not?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my god, where's he been?
He ran into some problems. I'm not sure a ton of people are booking him. I think, if I remember correctly.
Because I remember using Impact for a wee bit.
He had some issues along the way.
Really? Huh. I honestly don't remember. It's been a while.
He has a cottage at Ben's old cottage.
Yeah, he does.
On that lake, apparently.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Is he Canadian?
Yeah, Michael Elgin. Yeah. Carry on.
All right, Darby Allin versus JD Drake. No entrance for JD Drake, as if they couldn't make it more clear who's winning.
Right.
Honestly, and he's wearing a singlet, which is weird, because the only other time I've seen him, he's wearing trunks.
I am a JD Drake fan. I am fully on board with him. I think he's just got a very
he's
unique
a cool,
everything.
old school wrestler. He's another one of those guys who, if they made a dark championship, he would be
And you hear his nickname, the Blue Collar Badass, which is basically what he is, right? He's like the working's man, fighting guys, fighter sort of thing.
Yeah, he strikes me as like kind of like the William Regal type, or like, like William Regal had that gimmick, but like, I don't know, just like the kind of veteran wrestler, or like Finley.
And he's just kind of a big, out of shape, normal looking dude, but he can go, man.
Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Samoa
kinda.
Joe.
Yeah.
Keith Lee.
Yeah.
Well, not as athletic.
Not quite as athletic as those
but like,
guys.
I would say maybe Samoa Joe more so, because like they're big, but they he was pretty good.
He's more technically sound than he looks, and he can move around the ring pretty well.
He just looks like a dad.
Yep, like just a big brawler dude.
Right, like you just look at me, it just looks like a country dad or something.
Yep, I like him.
Back and forth to start with the Darby being sent to the outside eventually. But he turns around and he hits a suicide dive. Ryan Nemeth, who's there along with Cesar Bononi.
Odd little group, but whatever.
Right,
it's just like the leftovers.
It's a dark group. Who
cares?
The
leftovers.
Right. He distracts Allin and Drake counters a dive. Sting chases Nemeth away because it's an old man with a bat.
Yeah, he's terrifying, man.
And it's not like Cesar Bononi's right. I think Bononi might have been taken out, but whatever. That's dumb. Senton by Drake. Corner chop by Drake, who he had some pretty good chops. Body slam and just like a falling headbutt, which I thought looked really funny.
Me too.
Because he's just like, he slams me, he's just like, you.
It's the Maki Ito sort of headbutt.
Right. Commercial break. We're back with the battle on the outside. Drake pops Allin up into the ropes, and as Darby rebounds off of it, he hits a lariat. It was really cool.
It looked cool.
Me explaining it does not do it justice. You really have to kind of see it.
Rebound clothesline on the floor is the best I could do to say it. But
That's
it did
fair.
look
That's
cool.
fair. I mean, Drake misses a cannonball into the barricade, a swanton bomb by Darby onto Drake and Cesar Bononi. A former NXT jobber, Cesar Bononi, sorry. Darby is trapped in the Tree of Woe in the ring as Drake attacks with strikes, a chop to the back, and a Tree of Woe cannonball and a Vader bomb for 2 by Drake, which
looked good.
Which was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Drake misses a moonsault. As soon as I saw him going to the top rope, he's like, he's going to do a moonsault.
He did.
It's just like, I feel like the big guys do that now. I think he did. I think Kevin Owens did it a few times. There's someone else who did it too. I think Wardlow.
They don't hit them a ton because I think maybe their landing isn't so graceful if you're the guy having to take it. So it's almost best bang for your buck to have them do it but miss it, because the crowd's like, oh my god, he can do a moonsault, but the poor guy.
And then once they polish it,
the poor guy on the bottom doesn't have to die.
Right, and then once they polish it, maybe they can hit it right. But yeah, I find that's a trope. At least recently.
Yeah.
A slap battle on the top rope and an avalanche code red by Darby Allin, and he does use the coffin drop for the win this time.
Yeah.
I'll cover the aftermath real quick.
Yep, go ahead.
HFO attacked Darby for no reason. I don't get it. Sting and Dark Order chase away at Hardy Family Office. Tay Conti attacks Bunny. I don't get it.
I was confused by the aftermath too, other than obviously Bunny and Tay Conti are fighting soon.
What? I don't get why this.
That was one of my notes. I really don't understand all the people coming out after this match.
Right.
So I don't know. The match itself, I'm going to risk being a little bit hypocritical because I do find I complain on this show about lesser names getting too much in on established stars in their matches. But A, I really like this. B, it's kind of Darby's gimmick, right? Is that he gets beat down a lot.
And JD Drake, it's not like he's like he is a lesser name, but he's experienced at least. Like, I think a lot of, at least, indie wrestling fans will know him.
Yes. So I've seen Drake wrestle a bunch, and I think he's quite good, and I like that he just looks different from everybody else. He's just got a hard-hitting, straightforward style, but he can also do other things mixed in as well. I thought he looked good beating the hell out of Darby for a while, but that's what Darby does, right? That's what I'm saying. If you're any kind of brawler or whatever, you sign up to wrestle Darby Allin because he's going to make you look so good.
Yeah.
So even though he loses here, I think he looks good. I enjoyed this match.
Yeah, I liked it. It was a nice little match, even though the outcome was 100% guaranteed.
And you're right. That's a credit to the match too, because we did know who was going to win, and I still enjoyed it. And
right. Drake had some cool moves.
Sometimes that takes me out of it.
Right. And he's had some pretty good stiff strikes.
Yeah.
And I did not understand the aftermath.
Me either.
Then there's just a hype package for the main event. Sorry, I'm kind of like a silent hiccup.
It was sort of like a recap, but I thought it wasn't super thorough.
Yeah,
of the Young Bucks Omega story.
I didn't have any notes on it.
I just said it happened.
There's a hiccup. It's for Omega and the Good Brothers versus Mox and the Young Bucks.
You all right?
Yeah, there we go.
Do I need to pause the recording?
Okay, there it is again. The Pinnacle attack Chris Jericho by himself.
As he's talking to Marvez, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, he was getting interviewed and then he gets attacked. They take him to the ring and the gang beat down him. A spike pile driver by FTR.
All the time questioning where Inner Circle is, right? Because nobody's coming out to help them. And then it's revealed
their locker room is bolted shut as they try to break through the door. A table set up at ringside, and Mike Tyson comes out.
Grown.
And goes crazy on Shawn Spears, just like, man, he looked like Shane McMahon doing those strikes. Let me just say.
It's funny you say that.
Like,
Mike Tyson shows up and throws a whole bunch of really bad worked punches.
Right, it's like
really bad.
Mike Tyson comes out and does his best Shane McMahon impression.
And do you think he went after Spears because they're like, man, this guy's punches suck. The crappiest guy in the group needs to take this offense. Spears, that's you.
That's not very nice.
I think it might be true.
Inner Circle run out. Jericho and Tyson shake hands. Okay.
Yeah, I don't get the use of Tyson. I don't know. You're more online and stuff. Is he a relevant person at this point? Not in my life.
Nope. Not that I know of.
And he loves Jericho now for some reason? That's not explained either, right? They were supposed to fight and stuff. And now...
I don't...
I thought this was an unnecessary addition and added nothing to this.
I don't get it. I don't really care.
No. I don't. And sometimes, right, I'm the first one to defend AEW and go, listen, it's not for me, but it's star power. They're trying to hook other people, but I don't know if this does that. I don't
think this is that.
It's definitely not for me, and in this case, I'm not sure who it's for, so I don't think he needs to be there.
Britt Baker interview. Baker says Khan should give the fans what they want, which is a title shot for Britt Baker. I'm glad she thinks so.
Yep.
Baker says the win-loss system is bogus, but she'll play the game to get a shot at Cheetah because she's currently ranked number 4. And then I said, if she had lost a little more, she could have gotten an immediate shot.
I'm wondering if she was taken a little... Because I thought she was basically outlining and calling out WWE's philosophy for title shots. Because, right, she said the rankings are stupid and it should be based on star power and marketability and, fame level, basically. Right, so to me, that's her outlining WWE main roster philosophy.
That's true.
It doesn't matter how good a wrestler you are; it matters how many followers you have and you know what I mean.
Why do you think Randy Orton's always like? That's true.
So
that's
I thought this was another really strong.
I did not think of it like that.
Really strong. That was my favorite part of it, where she was like, the ratings shouldn't matter. It should be your star power and your ability to make money.
I didn't even think of it like that. Huh, interesting.
So I thought it was really strong, and she's a huge star, man. She's so confident now, and just she's killing this character like Callis is killing his character.
Callis is awesome.
They're just they own this character, and she's fantastic.
Yeah, she's doing great. I liked it, and I didn't think of it like that, but that's smart.
Yeah, I liked it.
Ty Conti next versus the Bunny, aka Allie.
Right.
Remember the time she got her foot stuck in the entrance? At Impact.
I think we've talked about it before.
We did. We for sure.
It was
did.
the biggest take two. We were at the Impact tapings, and they have their entrance stage butts right up against the apron.
Kind of like AEW does and NXT now do on the pay-per-views.
And apparently there's a gap between the ring and the ramp that's just wide enough for a human leg, and sure enough, on her entrance, she went right in and got stuck, her one leg, to the point where they just had to be like, we're going to redo that, so take 2.
And then they come in, and then when she gets to the ring, everyone's like, yay!
And then on take 2, when she made it in successfully, the crowd went crazy. So there would be an odd spot on an episode of Impact where she's getting a major ovation just for stepping in the ring. And that's why.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry.
That's probably my best and only Allie memory.
Yep, it was awesome.
A brawl start. Bunny gets in control. Conti catches a kick and hits kind of an exploder suplex deal. Corner pump kick by Conti. Bunny catches a PK on the outside and trips Conti, kind of like she's Conti runs on the apron, goes for the PK, kind of. An outside suplex by Bunny. Shotgun dropkick into the barricade, Finn Balor style by Bunny. Interesting
looked
backbreaker.
Really good, actually. She nailed that dropkick, and Conti hit that barricade hard.
Yeah. Interesting backbreaker by Conti post commercial break. It was a good slam, but she's supposed to get a backbreaker. She got it like
90% of the way there.
Her knee was kind of like this,
flat on the ground.
Yeah. So it didn't really look like a backbreaker.
It will be cool when she hits it, though.
Right. Hardy tries to distract. Conti hits the tie KO for 2, which I think should be your finisher. Because
I agree.
I'd rather that than the DD tie. Because Andrade already uses that, and like I don't know. I just think the tie KO is more unique.
I think it looks cooler.
And too. I think it's a more clever name.
I 100% agree.
But anyways, it's kind of like, so it's the gory bomb position, but then she kind of spins them out into a knee.
Right.
So it looks pretty cool.
If she hits it clean, it's going to look cool.
Yeah, so Bunny hits a cheap shot on Sheeta, who's ringside for no reason other than to get hit, I guess. Like, honestly don't know. And then Bunny steals the kendo stick and hits Conti while the ref is distracted. Sheeta then steals the kendo stick back. Superplex by Conti, and the DD tie, aka the Hammerlock DDT, for the win by Conti. Ty Conti wins. And I think you also said so too. She's improved greatly, and she looked pretty good again here.
Yeah.
Bunny had a few good moves, but it was mostly Conti in this match, and it was pretty good.
I actually thought this was a lot of fun, and I was really happy because I thought Bunny looked pretty bad last week in that tag match. So I thought she looked way better here. I don't think she's at the level of like a top women's wrestler, but she's useful for the division. Conti, like you said, she's improved a ton. She continues to impress me. Fairly short match, but I thought it had some cool offense, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So for next week, we got Darby Allin versus Matt Hardy for the TNT title, which is Falls Count Anywhere for no reason.
Just because.
I was honestly confused.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wouldn't you want it to be like, I guess Cage would be also random too, but to keep away the HFO?
You would think.
But
it's kind of playing right into their hands, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like they could be waiting in the kitchen.
Could have guys everywhere.
They literally have a butcher in their faction. Tell me they're not waiting in the kitchen.
That's where he should be. Yep.
And then Blade will be waiting in the armory, because they have one there for sure. Mm-hmm. I'm going to protect...
Also in the kitchen.
Yeah, they have an armory in the kitchen. Yeah, I'm calling it right now. Butcher's in the kitchen, and then Blade is in the kitchen armory. Okay. And then Bunny is in the petting zoo.
Right.
And then who else is in the fashion? Private Party is in the nightclub.
Right.
Right, which they all have in Daly's place.
Sounds good.
I'm not kidding about this. Yep. I definitely know for sure.
Petting zoo match is coming up.
The petting zoo palooza, petting zoo something.
Yeah, something.
Armory anarchy instead of arcade anarchy. It's just like a literal gunfight.
Bring a knife to a gunfight, Blade.
Could you imagine? You just got like a switchblade knife.
It just gets shot and it's over.
Switchblade, no. So it's like they tell him to bring like a knife, and the switchblade he brings in Jay White. Anyways, Young Bucks versus Death Triangle's Pac and Phoenix.
Yes.
For the tag titles next week.
Amazing.
Make that the main event. Screw that Falls Count Anywhere match. This is the main event.
Make that the second half of the show for all.
Make this the opener. No, you know what? Make this stupid Falls Count Anywhere match the main event. Make this the opener.
That might be what happens.
Yeah, that should be what happens. Anthony Ogogo is gonna debut next week.
Cool. I'm interested. I know nothing about him.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Sure. Don't. Next match I don't care about. Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet next week. They had Package, and Velvet says Cargill's barely better than her.
Yeah, basically. I was very confused. She basically says Velvet says she realizes what Jade's issue is with her, and it's because when they last met, Jade barely beat her. And I'm like, what? What? So your logic is that Jade, she's basically like, yep, you're better than me, but not by much.
Yeah, you were better than me, just by a smidge.
She delivered it fairly well, but I don't know if what she said made sense, but her delivery was okay. And then next week,
we got Chris Jericho with Sammy Guevara versus Dax Harwood, with Cash Wheeler and all the other members of the Pineapple and the Inner Circle are barred. I kind of want to just keep calling them the Pineapple now. And Mike Tyson's a special enforcer, which is his exact role from WrestleMania 14 when Stone Cold Steve Austin won the title. And also, go away, Mike Tyson.
He can hit some more amazing punches.
Right, he can knock out Shawn Michaels.
I guess the thing is when you're life was punching people for real, it's really hard to not punch them for real, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but you could you could make it look good.
You could learn, maybe.
Yeah. Then we go to our main event, which is Mox and the Young Bucks, Bucks of Youth, versus Kenneth Omega and the Good Brothers. And I find it interesting, you were saying that they're fighting on Impact, right? Omega and the Good Brothers?
Mm-hmm.
And they literally have a group theme on AEW.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of funny. Matt and Anderson
and
start.
I thought Gallows tries a little harder on Dynamite, if I'm being honest, because I just watched him.
Probably more prime time.
I think so. Yeah.
You're on Twitch and I think Access on Impact.
You're also working with Kenny Omega. I guess he is on Impact as well, though, so that doesn't make much difference.
And here you're just but
just bigger people.
I wonder if he's even getting paid more on AEW. If he's getting paid.
I don't know. I don't know how it works. But anyway, sorry.
Matt and Carl Anderson to start. Callis is kind of taunting Matt, and Omega tags in. Omega gets into a shoving battle with Matt, while Callis runs to commentary to join. Nick tags in with Kenny to hit some arm drags and a headlock. Omega hits a shoulder tackle to knock Nick down. Nick hits a step-up head scissors, but Kenny sold it anyway. Whoops. Anderson tagged in, and Nick hits a dropkick on Anderson and a dropkick on Omega. Moxley goes in the ring with a clothesline on Gallows to the floor, and he kind of took it, I guess.
yeah, he went down. He took a few bumps this match.
Moxley and the Bucks hit dives onto Bullet Club on the outside. Match returns with Moxley getting a tag from Matt Jackson, with Moxley hitting multiple clotheslines on Anderson. Irish whip in a corner. Anderson hits a clothesline. Moxley kind of no-sells and hits a German suplex. Moxley hits a German suplex on Omega and Gallows as well. Gallows actually did take it pretty nice.
He did.
Moxley grabs Anderson, who chokes Moxley across the top with a neckbreaker. And Gallows is back in with the boot to the face. Gallows works over Moxley in the corner. Moxley got back out of the corner and hits a neckbreaker. Nick Jackson tags in against Anderson, and he delivers several kicks to the body. Nick hits jumping kicks on Gallows. Anderson misses a corner splash and then stays against the turnbuckle so that Nick could stomp onto Gallows. And then he hits a backstabber on Anderson, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yep.
He hits a running kick on Gallows on the floor. Nick jumps back into the ring, but Anderson hits a spine buster. Matt tags in with Omega, with Kenny backing off because that's what heels do. Matt hits 2 hip tosses and a back body drop, and he fakes a kick leading to a DDT, which looked really cool. I thought
that
Omega
was a nice little spot.
Sold it really well. And it was weird because he stopped himself from hitting a kick, but hits a DDT.
Right.
Omega slaps him, and then Matt comes back with punches, and Callis is calling it disgusting. And that leads to the other 4 guys all doing moves to clear the ring, kind of like one of those move fest, not finisher fest.
Signature parade?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I call it.
Omega 2 Snapdragon suplexes on Matt, who's grabbing his neck.
The first one was crazy.
Mm-hmm. They're always pretty good.
Yeah.
Moxley's back in with the clothesline on Omega, and then Matt hits a pile driver for a 2 count. Nick Jackson hits a 450 splash. Matt hitting moonsault, which is more bang for your buck. More bang for your buck, yes.
Yep.
And Anderson breaks up the pin, kind of like the jumping, slap your back.
Back slap, break pin.
Back slap. Oh my god, I gotta break the pin. Like, honestly. Nick hit a dive off the top onto the Good Brothers on the floor. Matt's talking to Kenny to check to see if he's okay. Oh, we just hit our finisher on you. Oh, are you okay?
Yes, it's the story of Matt having trouble putting Omega away, right? Like, because it's his buddy, and that's what's going on here, basically.
But the difference is, so he can't do it now, but when the titles were on the line a year ago,
that's my rant.
I will take your titles.
You know my rant is coming, so.
Yes. The Young Bucks are trying to hit the BT trigger, but they can't. Mox goes in the ring and tells them to do it.
Matt won't do it. Not because they can't, but Matt decides he won't do it.
Omega sat there just for a while.
Yeah.
Mox tags in, tags himself in, and he's a paradigm shift on Omega, hits another paradigm shift after shoving Nick away. He locks in the sleeper, but Nick hits a super kick, and Matt hits a super kick on Mox as well.
Yep.
So, turn. Eddie Kingston's on the ramp, running in to yell at them, I guess, and stuff. And the Good Brothers beat him up and hit a Magic Killer on the stage, which was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And a Magic Killer to Mox for the win for the Bullet Club, and a double super kick to Mox post-match. I thought the match was good, but the other trios matches with the Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid were better.
I agree.
And I find it interesting that when the titles are on the line, it makes a lot of difference whether you can fight your best friend or not.
That was we talked about this, and I couldn't even, I try not to go over my takes, but I couldn't help it. This annoyed me so much by the end of it. So before I forget, Carl Anderson was the example. When he misses his punches, quote unquote, they look awesome. Like, he's basically like, I'm really going to punch, and you better just get out of the way because you're supposed to get out of the way. So, like, the opposite of what I was talking about Bear Country earlier, like, their offense that they're intentionally missing looks lame, whereas Anderson, he was the example. I couldn't remember. It looks good. But anyways, so yeah, this was a fun match, and there was cool stuff, but we've seen the Young Bucks kill Kenny Omega in like the greatest tag team match of all time, possibly, right?
And I think maybe the different story might have played to it, but like just
You've
in general,
done these moves to him before. You've super
right,
kicked
and he'll
him
be
1,000
okay.
times
He'll
before.
he'll be fine.
You've never
after.
killed a man in the ring, Young Bucks.
Right,
so
it's like he'll be fine.
I appreciate that AEW is trying to add some drama and some deep storytelling into here, but to me, this really doesn't make sense. We watch these guys have a war.
Well, and it's like you can still care about him, but like win the match.
I've watched that match again since then. That match is crazy. They do stuff to each other that's way beyond anything in this match. So I'm having a bit of trouble with the storyline. The match was pretty fun. And the Bucks in general seem kind of wishy-washy as characters to me, right? They don't seem to commit to anything. They're just kind of floating between.
I don't think they have
heel and
committed
face.
since getting out of Bullet Club, because I think that was last time where they had the defined character of like the sneaky heels and whatever.
Yes, so I'm glad that they're consistently having amazing matches, because I'd probably be more annoyed with them if they weren't, right? Because
if they weren't like the greatest tag team.
I'm quite forgiving, because it's like whatever your character is, that match you're about to have is going to be awesome, so it's fine. But yeah, so I don't know how I felt about the main event. In ring, I thought it was pretty fun, but some of the storytelling I thought was they're asking me to forget some pretty recent history. But anyways, what did you think
so
overall?
the Bullet Club are back together, and the fans are chanting "You sold out."
But did they do they're still not fully in,
group
right? Because they didn't do the two
They
sweet
did a group
thing.
hug.
Yeah, I guess.
Instead.
So it's like the Bucks are kinda with them now.
They seem to be more into it, because last time they were like, okay, at
I
like New
guess
Year's
so.
match, they're like, okay.
But still doesn't seem fully committed to me.
Yeah.
Like reluctant.
We'll see.
A bit. We'll see, I
Yeah,
guess.
I thought it was a good show overall. I don't think it was outstanding or terrible, so I'd give it like a B+. Like, I think there's good stuff throughout, but I think we've had better. I think we'll get better next week.
I think that's very fair. I thought the opener was good. Bunny Conti was good enough. North American title match and the main event were
Did you actually just say that?
entertaining. Sorry, the TNT. I put NA, that's why.
Wow. You actually wrote that down, too.
Yeah, I'm not very smart. Segment-wise, the Inner Circle was entertaining, and Britt Baker was. Sting Archer, once it kept going, got a bit forgettable. Everything else was kind of fine. So by AEW standards, I would give this a B. I thought about B+, but not quite. I think it's a B show.
Yeah, I think I was being a little
I was
nice.
thinking about our general ratings last night. What I would say is like, A is it's excellent, like loved it, right? B level is liked it. C level is didn't really like it. And D level is disliked it. I think if people are looking for a general guide, like for me in the B range, I liked it, right? I loved it.
I think if we ever find a perfect show, I don't know if we will, but like I think that should be what an A++ is.
Yeah, for sure. So I thought this was a good show, but nothing amazing on it.
Yeah.
A bit below their average, I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, we're doing...
I'm going to do off the top of his head right now.
I almost said figuring it out.
No. So we're going to transition into our trivia segment to keep it consistent, and then we'll come back to NXT.
Woo.
So our trivia segment, I'm going to grill Jack on a different topic every week, and that is what we call Off the Top of His Head. And this week, I found an article that I sort of enjoyed, and I'm glad because I did it basically right away, I was telling you. So this is taken from... The article is called, it's from eWrestlingNews.com. I slightly modified a few things to make it into clues and added a couple things. So ready? It's 20 current WWE superstars struggling to get out of catering. Okay? Goodness. 20 current WWE superstars struggling to get out of catering. So I have basically 3 clues. Almost all of them are from the article. So I basically took their description of the person and put it as clues. And
so
then
basically like Aleister Black right now?
And if I needed to add somebody, he may be on this list, yes. Okay, so you ready?
Like that, just that like general idea. Okay.
So I have 3 clues for each, I think. He is quite regularly chasing after R-Truth and the 24/7 championship.
Bo Dallas.
No, but good. So that's the thing. You can guess after each one. It should get easier, right? His last match on Raw was back in November. Pick a 24/7 guy.
Drew Gulak.
Good guess, but no. He is a former cruiserweight champion who is now relegated to main event. That's your last clue. A former...
Angel Garza?
No, Tozawa.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay. Showed promise in Raw Underground, but a fight with Braun Strowman turned into his undoing.
Dabba-Kato.
Correct. The next ones were Shane McMahon tried to build him up, but WWE squashed their work.
And they gave him a dumb name.
And he hasn't been on TV since September.
FK Babatunde.
Okay, next one. Joins Tozawa on the list of 24/7 guys on this list. Sorry.
Humberto
that was
Carrillo.
redundant. No, but good guess. Before, he was partnered with Daniel Bryan on SmackDown.
Drew Gulak.
Correct. He's not worked a match on Raw since January, and he's on main event now. His tag partner is currently injured, so he also did a stint on Raw Underground. Correct. Ray Rowe, one of my favorites, who's doing absolutely nothing. This guy is awesome.
He is by himself right now, so there's...
It's true. Hey, my other clues were had a short run as the 24/7 champion, unseen since November, not even on main event. Last clue was he likely requested time off to be with his wife as they welcomed their first child in February.
Which is a big no, because I remember Ricky Steamboat did that after he won the Intercontinental title and basically got buried into the ground.
Yeah. You're not injured, you better be at work. The next one. Despite a promising run during the earlier months of the pandemic while Paul Heyman was in charge of Raw, he was relegated to main event.
Ricochet.
No. His last Raw was back in October, and he has not been on a pay-per-view since Survivor Series in November 2020. Jack is not a fan of this wrestler at all.
Humberto Carrillo.
Correct.
Haha! Woo!
Believe it or not, that clue wasn't in the article. That one was from me.
Haha, you suck, Humberto.
Next one. He struggled with injuries the past few years, but returned at the Indian pay-per-view Superstar Spectacle to take on Drew McIntyre and Indus Sher with the Singh brothers.
Jinder Mahal.
Correct. Next ones disappeared again after Superstar Spectacle, and this Canadian is no longer injured. There is apparently just nothing for him. Next one. Since losing the 24/7 title to R-Truth and appearing on Raw Underground, this man has not been seen.
Riddick Moss.
Wow. I thought you might not get this one. He was wrestling with a torn ACL, so there is a chance he is trying to recover. So the one I put, because I didn't think you'd get it, so I put the former partner of Tino Sabatelli. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
I thought Tino was going to be a megastar, remember?
Yeah.
I was like, look at this guy. Yeah. He's going to be...
I thought they were... I forget. He had an interesting theme.
I think I said that he would be a main roster champion in like 2 years, Tino. Because he just looked like
the opposite.
He looked like a John Cena kind of deal.
Bro, he's like the opposite now.
I know. Next one. He lost the 24/7 title to Grand Metalik in November. Notice a lot of 24/7. So you never want to be in that division.
Bo
clearly.
Dallas.
Nope. Suffered considerably since his big man tag team broke up. Silence. Radio silence. He has been spotted chasing after 24/7 champions, but has not been used on main event or other shows since losing the title. Big man tag team. I can't believe
Tucker.
it. Yes, there you go. Tucky. Next one. She has not been seen since the Royal Rumble. Although I think she just did some commentary. But anyways.
Beth Phoenix.
No. Before that, her last match was against Zelina Vega in September on Raw. The last clue will help you. All we've heard from her lately is that she doesn't think female wrestlers should retire by the time they're 40. So obviously it's an older star.
Who would have faced Zelina Vega on Raw? Trish Stratus.
Mickie James. Close. They had an amazing feud.
That makes sense because she's kind of current still.
Not used since losing to Alexa Bliss in February. This is the next one.
Nikki Cross.
Correct. Former tag team champion with Bliss. She has shared her frustration about not being used on social media, which is a great way to make sure you just are off for longer, right? I don't think that helps. All right, next one. Not seen since Kevin Owens beat him 3 times in September, October. Many speculate that his inactivity is related to the release
Aleister Black.
of his contract breaching quote-unquote wife. Yes, good. Last clue has been reported that he's been working with several minor injuries and has been called to train at the Performance Center. Next one. Since Zelina Vega was fired and Andrade suffered months of inactivity, this star was repackaged as a romantic sleazeball. Yes, Angel Garza. Despite his new gimmick, he disappeared over a month ago and can only be seen on Main Event. And the final clue for him is known for tearing off his pants mid-match. That was me, because I at that point, I just need to give you one where you'll get it.
That's funny, because like out of context, that's just like someone would be like, "What are you? What?"
Next one. Missing in action since October 2019.
Bo Dallas.
Correct.
Woo!
The
Finally got it.
Was going to be, is he still around because his big brother is still around and somewhat prominent? And then final...
Right, because they got rid of Curtis Axel.
Former NXT champion whose father was released during the April pandemic cuts. So his dad got fired and he's still there.
Oh, IRS got fired?
Yeah, really? He was released in that round.
Was he a producer or something?
He's a backstage something, agent or whatever. Next one. I almost read the answer instead of the clues. Woo! Not used in a match since Survivor Series.
Like this one?
Yep. Sorry, the next one.
No.
He recovered from an injury and returned for a short time, but was quickly removed from TV.
Murphy.
No. The leader of Lucha House Party to begin with.
Kalisto.
But has been absent for months, while Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik worked matches on 205 and NXT. Correct, Kalisto.
Kalisto.
A few more. He has not had a match since June. Take a guess. Obviously, that's a hard clue. You'll get it off the second one, though.
Okay.
Nope. It's like WWE used him for his connection to Rob Gronkowski.
Mojo Rawley.
Correct. Seen so rarely, I'm not even sure if he's still painting his face, was my last clue. Because I knew you would get that from that, right? Because you're face paint aficionado.
No, he doesn't. Like, cause I think before WrestleMania, I remember he was on commentary, like, yeah, because Rob Gronkowski was coming, so he's like, he has to be babyface now. He's like, yeah, say hi, bro. I'm not painting my face anymore, bro.
3 more. No matches since May of 2020. Take a random guess. You're never going to get it off that first clue. After his faction leader got real life heat, he was eventually repackaged with his partner to be...
Wesley Blake.
Correct. To be minions of King Corbin. His partner was then fired, and this star has been left in limbo. Here's a hard one, for me at least. Has not been seen since his matches on Raw in early pandemic time.
No. I don't know.
You might remember him as the big partner of Shane Thorne, who later became Slapjack.
Oh, what's his name?
Right?
Brendan Vink.
Good, Brandon Vink. Last clue for him was, before his run on Raw, he had only worked NXT live events, and despite stating that he is back in NXT, he has not been used on TV since. All right, last one.
Remember when they were a team and they were like about to get recruited by MVP and then just no.
Yep, and then gone. Back in 2019, this last one, she appeared on NXT as Aaliyah's tag team partner, but by January 2020, her bookings had dried up. You forget her already?
Mercedes Martinez?
I thought there was potential for this one. Nope. Mostly due to her look and charisma. I don't think she was very good in the ring. It was reported that she moved up to the main roster, I forgot that, and would be part of the Retribution stable, but it never materialized. So I didn't even know she was here that recently, to be honest. She kind of has a unique look, good charisma.
I don't remember.
It was later reported that she was moved back to NXT.
I don't remember.
Vanessa Bourne.
Oh, yeah!
Remember her? Yeah, I forgot about her, too.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So that was it. I don't know. I thought that was just an interesting route to go. I saw the article. I liked it. So good try.
I forgot about her.
You did pretty well on some of them. And some of them are really obscure and hard. I'm surprised you got Brendan Vink, to be honest.
Well, I just remember he was partner with Shane Thorne for it. Or, Slapjack.
Perfect. All right. Well, so that will end our off the top of his head trivia section, and we'll switch into... We'll talk about a couple nights of pay-per-view, and that will be our NXT review. Technically call it now.
This is a pre-show. They call it a kickoff on the main roster,
but
for
it's
some reason.
pre-show here.
Yeah, it's weird.
So I did watch it both nights actually. And I did think that one thing I will say, I'm not going segment by segment because there were a bunch of interviews and promos and things. I thought Samoa Joe did a really good job in his sort of capacity. He interviewed like Ciampa and Walter and whatever. He did a good job.
Yeah, he would probably be good. That I would trust him if he's given like creative leeway.
So the pre-show with less panel and more like promos and interviews and stuff was I much prefer that. And I thought the set as we sort of opened the show
right, looked... if it's like an hour long, you could basically use it kind of like what they do with Dark Elevation.
Yes, and even some of the segments, if they had included them on some shows and things to promote things, it would have been kind of cool, I thought. But anyways, the set looked pretty neat. The big skull at the top of the ramp was a nice touch with screens for the eyeballs that they could put on whatever they wanted to.
So they had the skull and they had 2 X's.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was a nice stage. I liked the variation.
Me too. So the pre-show match for night 1 was Zoe Stark versus Toni Storm. So again, like Zoe Stark has been on every show since basically she's signed or debuted, right?
That's
like,
good for her. And it's really weird that they're focusing on her because she's good, but like the other 2 that they signed for the Dusty Cup
have been nowhere.
Right?
And so Zoe hasn't really won, but she's looked good in a whole bunch of defeats lately, right? So
and I saw she lost to Toni Storm. I didn't watch this, but she had lost to Toni Storm. Like, come on.
She looked strong early, showcased her offense, including a springboard missile dropkick. Storm then took over the match for a stretch using power offense, snap suplexes, body slams, etc. Stark hit a superplex from the second rope at one point. Is that a superplex? Is that like a...
Wait, what?
Semi-superplex if it's only from the second rope.
I guess it still is the superplex. Who's standing on the it's a superplex.
Yeah.
It's a bottom rope.
Because you know how like the person person getting hit with it's usually sitting on the top or whatever, but
that's a superplex. But if you're standing on the bottom rope, then I gotta question the superness of the superplex.
Stark then hit a half Nelson suplex and a running knee for a near fall. The finish came a bit later when Storm hit a series of German suplexes before going for the Storm Zero. And I told you there was an awkward counter here. It wasn't what was supposed to happen, but I'm not sure what was. There was supposed to be some sort of more clever counter to the Storm Zero than this. But it ended up, I guess, the adjustment. Stark gets a small package and picks up the victory over Toni Storm, which I was a little bit surprised. The match was good, had some good parts. Stark's offense and her overall athleticism, right? Really impressive. Storm looked good in the little bits she got too. The issues, I think I told you because you didn't see this, that this was like conversation, the match. The issues for me came because on multiple occasions, you could see that they were clearly kind of working things out, having conversations, right? So I guess this is developmental, and maybe it's more Zoe Stark at this point because she's less experienced. I don't know. The finish, I'm pretty sure, didn't go down as it was planned either. So it wasn't a bad kickoff show match, and Stark looks like she might be a big deal in the future. And I mean, asked myself, like, who's gotten more TV time in NXT history than her since debuting?
Right.
She's been on every show every week, now on the pay-per-view since she's gotten there, right? So, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing because I've quite liked her.
It's just odd.
Interesting. What do you think of Storm taking the loss here? What do you think that means for her?
Have
they just adjusted their evaluation of her? Like,
I would hope so. I think they should. I would hope so. I think they're just coming to terms on the actual level of talent they have with her.
Or is there a chance that they think she's main roster ready and away she goes and this is her?
I'm fine. I would love to see her get ruined.
Because I think like Vince or whoever now represents Vince will see her look and her entrance, right? Because we say it every time. She looks like a freaking star when she comes to the ring and then the bell rings, as they say. And we're like, she's okay.
Yeah.
Right? Like she's not amazing, and we were sort of
meh, and then at times bad.
We've been told since the Mae Young that she's amazing, right? And I just don't see it.
Right, frankly, and that's been like 3 years almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yep. So I don't know. Maybe they've just lowered.
How
their
long do I have to
now.
wait to see this star that you're telling me about?
Which, meanwhile, we're about to get into a match where they've been telling us about a star that maybe I'm starting to believe in a little bit now, and that is we'll start the actual night 1, and it starts out with the musician who does Nakamura's theme,
Nita Strauss. I think she's someone's guitarist. Alice Cooper
playing the national anthem on guitar was to start, and then we go right into Pete Dunne versus Kushida, and Kushida's the guy I'm referring to, who I've been like for a while, like they keep telling us how great he is.
Still, I'm not completely convinced.
I'm coming around after
I
this
am
and
too,
the Gargano match.
I'm still not completely convinced yet.
Right. So this feud with Pete Dunne and Kushida was really quickly built and simple, but it was okay. It's basically they both have recently been saying they're the best technical wrestlers and that they want to prove it in this match. So a very simple build, but at least there was something. Because when we get to night 2, I'm going to have some complaints about some matches that really had no build, so it kind of took away for me. So at least there was a little bit of a straightforward short build to this one.
Right, just easy opener.
Yeah, we get holds and counters to start. And basically, again, they're just showcasing the idea is that they're each the best technical wrestler in the world, so we get a lot of holds and counters.
Which I don't think is true, even though I think Pete Dunne's great and Kushida's fine.
No, but it makes sense. It's something they could argue it at least, right? I guess.
Right, like I say Pete Dunne's maybe up there.
Yep. Dunne sort of takes momentum with an X-Plex on the apron, and then he starts to attack Kushida's arm. Kushida ends up at one point, remember, running the full length of the ramp almost to kick Dunne, and Dunne sort of rolls back into the ring. We get a strike exchange, and Dunne starts working on Kushida's fingers, as Dunne generally does. Kushida hits a superplex while holding his hoverboard lock. I don't know what to call it, but it looked awesome though, from the top rope, and then flipping it into an armbar really quickly.
It's kind of like a hit toss kind of deal.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he does that. He tends to do that.
So Dunne manages to get a foot on the ropes to break it. Kushida continues attacking Dunne's arm in varied ways, I thought, locking in another hoverboard lock, even switching arms with the hold when Dunne reached the ropes at one point. The finish comes when Dunne just suddenly attacks Kushida's fingers again, and he hits the bitter end for the win. There were a lot more things going on in there. I'm sort of summarizing it a little bit. So for me, it wasn't exactly what I expected, but I still thought it was pretty awesome. I'll have to watch it again maybe at some point. I felt like Kushida got the majority of the offense in, and it impressed me nonetheless. They did a really good job of telling the story that these are two guys that each consider themselves the best technical wrestler. At one point, they were doing moves like suplexes and other kind of throws and things straight into submissions with incredible speed, which I thought looked cool. Both really showcasing they can link things together, right? From a suplex right into a submission. I also thought Kushida's like relentless attack on the arm was like varied, and it's one thing to constantly attack the arm, but it's another thing to know a ton of creative ways to do that, right? And I thought he did a good job of that. And again, that move from the top that he transitioned into the armbar looked awesome to me. So I did feel like Kushida spent a lot of time on offense, but it still worked for me. I'd have to rewatch it to see if that's an accurate. Sometimes I'll watch it again and go, oh no, like Dunne got his fair share in too. Dunne's clean win kind of came out of nowhere, right? He suddenly just hit a string of moves to the fingers and then the bitter end. I was honestly wondering if Kushida was going to kick out of it, to be honest. Gargano Kushida was still better than this, but I really enjoyed this, and I thought it was a good opener. And if Kushida, for me, he's just an interesting character away from being really cool. I'm starting to buy in that, yes, this guy between the ropes is pretty awesome, but I still don't know what his character is. I still don't care or know anything about him, and I would like to. So they kind of need to just work on that and build important feuds and let me know what he's about, sort of thing.
Yeah.
His last 2 takeover matches have been excellent. What did you think?
Yeah, it was a good match. It was short, and I think the offense ratio was a little weird. I think these guys could have had a better match.
I felt like the middle chunk, if that makes sense, was a lot of Kushida, and he looked awesome, and I'm not super complaining. It's just not what I expected.
I think they should have done this differently, and maybe they could have had a better match, but it was still good. I agree. I think Kushida's better. I think we're starting to see maybe a bit of what.
But as you will always point out, he's working Gargano and Dunne, so of course you're gonna look good, right?
He's working 2 of NXT's best right now.
I agree with that.
I think what I want to see from him is maybe a few more matches against these good guys, maybe Champ or someone. But I want to see him able to carry out someone else to a good match. Maybe I don't know, someone who
Swerve or something.
Right,
although he's pretty awesome.
Good. Maybe carry Leon Ruff to a good match.
Karrion Kross.
Or Bronson Reed or something, someone who's decent, but I just want him to be able to be the good wrestler in that match, because I feel like if he's wrestling Gargano or Dunne, I feel like they're the good wrestler, quote unquote, in that match. I want him to be the good wrestler in that match to really solidify, oh yeah, he's pretty good.
I just need some character.
That too, yeah, for sure. I think he needs character development, even if he has to go the classic killer foreign heel
because all it's been is he's Back to the Future guy, and then he's the guy that commentary tell us are serious now.
Right, and I feel like you might have to go just down the generic foreign killer heel route, but at least that would be something.
Yep, he needs something.
Yeah.
We then move into the North American title gauntlet match, right?
Number 1 contenders gauntlet.
Right, number 1 contender.
Gauntlet eliminator.
So it starts out with Swerve Scott jumping Leon Ruff before the match even starts, as they were the first two that were planned to enter this match. At one point, Ruff uses the announce table as a springboard to hit a cutter on Scott. Ruff counters a top rope powerbomb into Hurricane Rana just before Bronson Reed enters the match. Reed hits a double German suplex on Scott and Ruff, which is pretty impressive. Grimes enters next, and he's sort of, obviously, his gimmick now is he's like, I say, redneck $1 million man.
Yep.
So he takes out a wad of cash.
Like country $1 million man or whatever. Like,
offers it to Swerve so that they can work together.
Who actually takes the bribe for like the first time in the history of anything.
He takes the money and shoves it in his trunks, and they work together briefly. As Loomis is making
trunks.
Oh, nice. I didn't even pick that up. Loomis is making his entrance. Swerve's able to quickly pin Ruff to eliminate him. I'm not gonna lie, I must have been typing. I missed the Ruff elimination. I don't know if you noticed it.
I don't remember.
But all of a sudden, I was like, "Hey, Ruff's already gone."
I don't remember it offhand.
This is why I need to learn to type better, so I could actually keep watching while I type instead of looking down. But anyways, he was the first one eliminated. Loomis then hits multiple suplexes before running into Reed and getting into a strike exchange. Knight is the final entrant, and he pins Loomis as Loomis has Grimes locked in the silence submission, which I thought was nice. It's a way to sort of keep Loomis strong, right?
And I thought it was clever.
It was like a sneak attack because Loomis has his submission locked in on Grimes, and Knight sort of sneaks in and pins him.
Yeah, I thought it was a clever pin too.
That made sense to me. And it got Loomis out of there. One of the, in my opinion, not stronger workers. Like, I think he's good, but I had no problem with him being out of this match. Then Reed eliminates Knight moments later after a senton, which I also agree with.
I thought Knight would have lasted longer.
I was a bit surprised but happy because I don't think he's as strong a worker either.
Right, so I think he's one of those guys you would probably want to get rid of early-ish.
And no coincidence, this is where I thought things picked up. Now we have Scott, Reed, and Grimes. And I thought the action from this point on was considerably more interesting, and I got into the match basically starting here. When Grimes came in initially, I felt the energy picked up just because of his ridiculous over-the-top portrayal of this character. And then again, once they got, I don't like dead weight's too strong a word, but you know what I mean. And they had more room to operate. So Grimes and Scott try to work together a little bit against Reed, but Reed shrugs off their strikes, and basically their alliance breaks down almost right away. Grimes tries to roll up Swerve while holding the tights, but Swerve is able to reverse that and does the exact same thing to eliminate Grimes, and the final two are then Bronson Reed and Swerve Scott. So Reed goes up to the top, but Scott catches him with a nice kick, followed by a slam from the top rope down onto the apron. Scott then hit a 450 splash for a near fall, and the finish came when Reed fired up after Swerve hit 3 house call kicks, which kind of looked cool. So Swerve hits 3 of them.
I miss him doing that because it's like just a kick. But I think kick finishers are usually pretty cool.
See, I don't think it's a finisher. It doesn't look impactful enough, but it looks cool.
It was.
I know, but I don't think it should be. Is what I'm saying.
I think it can be if he hits it good.
I guess. So he hits 3 of them anyways. Reed fires up, hits his tsunami splash, and eliminates Swerve. And Bronson Reed earns a match for the North American Championship on night 2. So for me, as I said, it got more interesting once Grimes entered. And once he and Swerve sort of teamed up there, that was entertaining. And then once we got down to the final 3, I thought Reed looked pretty impressive here, especially the finishing sequence. The first half of this match, if I'm being honest, was just kind of fine. It was a standard kind of gauntlet. There was nothing crazy going on. The second half I thought was awesome once we got down to the final 3. No offense to them, but get Loomis and Knight their few spots. And they did. And they got a couple decent spots. And then get them out so that the workers can work, as they say, sort of thing. I missed Ruff's elimination. I thought Swerve and Reed looked really good here, and Grimes is always an amazing performer, character work, and in-ring. So I thought the action involving those 3 was really fun. I'm fine with Reed as the challenger. I thought he looked good here, and I feel like you were starting to come around on him a bit.
He did look better here, and I agree. I think the match picked up. I think you made the point, like, when there's, like, a lot of clutter, I think a similar thing can be said in Battle Royals and Royal Rumbles. That's how it goes, and that's what you come to expect, and that's fine.
Yep.
I think it did pick up. I think Swerve did good. I think Grimes did good. I think Reed
Swerve
did pretty good. I think Reed is improving a bit. I think he was the second pick. I think, like, it makes sense that he won. I'm not surprised. I think if they, like, I think they work on him a bit, and I think he works hard. Yep. I think he can be good. Like, I just don't think he's quite there yet, but he looked good here. I think he's a decent choice for a winner out of the field.
Yep, so this was my easily the weakest match of the night for me, and I still liked it. So that's going to give you an idea of how I felt about this show, like good old Takeover, right? Like the first half of this was nothing special, but then I really enjoyed it, and this was my least favorite match on the show. So guess what? I'm going to be a bit of gushing probably on this show from me. Then we move into one I was really looking forward to, and I'm probably my favorite wrestler right now, along with Pac, and that is Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa. If you haven't seen Walter, you need to. It looks real, man.
If you haven't seen Walter, what the hell have you been
We know
watching?
wrestling's fake, but this man makes it look real, honest to God. Like, he just has the ability that everything looks like he's just killing people. And I can't get tired of watching it, no matter what. So anyways, early on, Ciampa tries to use his speed to avoid Walter's power and striking, but eventually he sort of snaps and he gives up that strategy in favor of just attacking Walter with the flurry of chops, which is a bad idea. I thought you were going to
say clotheslines.
Because that just not yet. That just fires up Walter, right? And so he then hits some devastating chops of his own. Like, I watched his Rampage Brown match. I think I would, and at one point Rampage Brown gets hit with a suplex onto the apron, and I think I would rather take that than a Walter chop. I think I would, and that's crazy because it's such a basic thing, but they're so devastating. Anyways, Walter destroys the top of the announce table with a chop as Ciampa moves out of the way. So this is important because Walter injures his hand here. Basically, the top of this table just splits right in two. Perfectly in like a lightning bolt pattern.
And it's not even like he broke the top of the table. He broke the cup, like the logo cover off.
And it was like a perfect jagged line.
Right. Like it's a cool visual, but also a ridiculous visual.
Yep. But it allows us to have the injured hand, which will be a focus of Ciampa going forward, right? So Ciampa tries to go after Walter's injured hand, but he ends up taking a really nice boot instead from Walter. Even his simple stuff like boots and knees.
I remember in the Will Ospreay match, he did like a leapfrog and then just hit him with a boot like that, and it looked awesome.
It's amazing. Walter does a really good job of selling the hand, which is another thing. Like, he is the full package, I think, because he's applying submissions, a couple different ones, but he's only using the one hand he has, right? And he's not using the injured one.
Like, yeah, like even he was like chopping his left hand. They're like, that's not going to be as because that's not his dominant hand. That's kind of cool too. It's like take away his good hand. So even if you get chopped, it's like a normal person's chop almost.
Exactly. So then he is chopping with his non-dominant hand, right, which is a bit less force.
And then he's less Walter.
Yes. Ciampa then does the only thing I didn't like that he's been doing in some matches. I've been complaining already, but this was like to another level. Ciampa just then, it's infinite clotheslines, like 15 clotheslines.
I don't know.
And Walter's just basically staggered, right? And it takes maybe a dozen, and then he basically levels Ciampa with one big chop, with sort of this idea that one of Walter's strikes is equal to like 10 of yours at least, right? My issue with it is it's Tommaso Ciampa. He's an amazing wrestler. He could hit. I would much prefer he hits a variety of moves to Walter and can't take him down.
Clotheslines, knees, uppercuts, elbows,
day
forearms.
One of wrestling school, and that's what he's still like. Ciampa can do more than this.
Right, like he could throw in clotheslines with other stuff.
And I get the stamina piece is impressive, like the fact that he's not blown up from running that much. I get that, but again, I don't know. It's the only part of this match I didn't enjoy.
Yeah.
Ciampa comes right back and hits one more clothesline after Walter took him down with a chop, and that clothesline's the one that takes Walter down. We get a flurry of offense. Ciampa hits the fairy tale ending, but Walter kicked out. I want to say first kick out of the fairy tale ending, or
I don't.
Oh no, maybe not that, but Willow's bells. I don't know if it's been kicked out before.
Well, yeah, because that's probably because Willow Bell is mostly a signature for a while.
Walter applies a chokehold, hits a German suplex and a lariat for a 2 count. Ciampa lands some more strikes and even forces Walter to cover up at one point, which is a nice touch by Walter. It made Ciampa look pretty good there. Another strike exchange before Walter starts attacking Ciampa's repaired neck with power bombs and stomps, which was awesome. Basically, Walter hits another suplex and a chop, and he pins Ciampa for the win
Walter's
with a chop.
the only person I would ever be okay with winning with the chop.
I've seen him win with chops. I've seen him win with clotheslines. I've seen him win with power bombs.
Splash.
I've seen him win with the top rope splash. I've seen him win with a knee.
And a top rope power bomb.
And it's all...
a knee?
The reason I love that is because it makes the near falls more believable, right? Because in every other match... even though we
like
still
CM
fall
Punk
for
even
it.
said he doesn't want people to see like more shocked faces after kickouts of like
because
moves that no one kicks out. It's like when I remember Roman Reigns would always be surprised like he kicked out of the Superman punch. Yeah. Like I remember there's only I think one match he's ever won with the Superman punch. And I think that was just like because like they had been beaten down or like something or whatever, but like I think he's only won with the Superman punch one time.
And that's the thing. And for me, it's Dolph Ziggler with the Famouser. They always act shocked that anyone
I know
kicked
it's like
out
the
of it.
signatures that they hit all the time. It's like
so this, if in reality, if you think about it, almost no one wins without their finisher. But Walter, because he could win with anything, there's like possible near falls. I liked it. I thought this match was awesome. Just a hard-hitting, brutal match from Walter. This is what he does. Ciampa looked fantastic, too, even just physically, right? He cut his hair. He's looking incredibly shredded right now.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, he doesn't have, like, the weird hair
No,
anymore.
he got rid of it.
He even went back to the trunks instead of, like, the weird pants or whatever.
Outside of the infinite clothesline spot, which I can sort of forgive, I love this match. You got brutality, technical wrestling, strong selling, near falls, a cool finish. Amazing match, a great introduction to Walter for some North American fans. This is what Walter does, people, if you haven't seen him. His matches are fantastic.
If you want
can't say enough good
really
things
see
about
Walter, I would say watch his match with Pete Dunne from TakeOver New York, because that was like the match that made us realize.
Or
like,
go watch Dragunov.
Like,
we say it all the time.
That one too. And because like we were just like, it's kind of like the Kushida scenario where it's like, he's like, because we hadn't heard of him, we had no idea who he was. I remember watching TakeOver,
and then I remembered seeing him. Like I saw that they had signed him, and it was a big deal. And I'm a pretty big wrestling nerd, and I'd never heard of him. First of all, I hadn't heard of him. Then I'm like, really? His name's Walter? Like he's just called Walter? And then I saw a picture of him. I'm like, really? Because he's a big guy, but he's like kind of soft and doughy. I would never say that to his face because he would kill me.
He's not necessarily in shape.
He's not a body guy in any way. He's just one of those naturally strong, heavy set dudes, right? He's amazing. He's incredible. He's great. Among the best in the world. Mm-hmm. This was an awesome match. I loved it.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think I would have maybe like in an ideal scenario a longer match, maybe a little better, less clotheslines. I think I had really high expectations, so that might be my wrongdoing. But like it was still really good. And like Walter being able to just win with any move is pretty cool. And I think he should take more American excursions for takeovers if he can.
Just selfishly, I want him to.
Right, and if the opportunity presents itself, I think, because like, I think this was a good like way to do that.
Yeah, this is I had high expectations, and this met them for me. I think the guy is amazing in any capacity.
For sure.
So then we get a very different style match for sure, and that is for the tag team championships in a triple threat match between MSK, the Grizzled Young Veterans, and Legado del Fantasma. Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza. And this match, my goodness. So it starts out really quickly with each team getting in on the action right away. Legado eventually take control with stereo dives and a pair of coast-to-coast leaping drop kicks. Carter sort of seated in the corner.
Cool. No, I think he was in the Tree of Woe.
And that's right. And they went from opposite sides, right? And hit him with...
I'm going to pull up the action we know. It
was pretty cool.
The predictions.
Sure. Wes Lee then has an incredible hot tag. This guy is nuts. He took out all four men on the other teams, hit a huge dive and a series of backflips into a Pele kick to the back of James Drake head. Zach Gibson gets involved, takes out Lee before attacking Lee's recently healed hand. He's just back from a broken hand, so he sticks it in the turnbuckle pad. Is that how they broke it before? Because I know I've seen it before. Remember they jammed it in the... Anyways.
Maybe. I honestly don't... I know someone did that.
Gibson locked up Lee's hand, and Lee was ready to tap, but then Carter sort of able to reach out and grab his hand while he's already in a submission being applied as well. Legado hits their Splash DVD combo, Death Valley Driver combo, and signal for their finish. And I was expecting some sort of interruption here, but they actually do hit their running kick Russian leg sweep combo for a really near fall. And then the finishing sequence sees Grizzled Young Veterans take out Wilde with a Doomsday Device, of course, followed by
Suicide Doomsday Device.
MSK killing Mendoza with a top rope stomp burning hammer combination, which was ridiculous on the floor. Again, I'm kind of glossing over a bunch of stuff in this match. It was pretty crazy. With the Grizzled Young Veterans and MSK left standing, which I was surprised because I thought Legado was in there to take the pin. MSK hit their blockbuster spinebuster combo for the win and become the new NXT Tag Team Champions. I thought this was another fantastic match. really different from the rest, right? This was like your sprint. This was like your spot fest. This was an all-out sprint from the beginning. Each team looked great. Crazy action all over the place. Wesley's hot tag was amazing. Some of the double team moves, especially at the end of this, were insane as well. It's like the addition of MSK and the Grizzled Young Veterans has just instantly improved the weakness of this show, which was the tag division, right? Into something that I'm getting excited about. Legato, I don't want to not mention them. I thought they looked really good here too. And there's an actual tag division now. And they could be a nice piece going forward in the tag division, right? So it's like this tag division has sprung out of nowhere with the addition of these teams, and I'm really happy about it. MSK have been booked pretty much perfectly, I think, since they've gotten here. And I feel that they could have a prolonged feud with Grizzled Young Veterans, right? Like, this could maybe feel like, I don't know, Dudley Boys, Hardy Boys,
DIY Revival,
right?
Like, not that good, but like,
no, I'm
you know
saying
what
like
I mean.
the three of them. So Edge, Christian,
right.
like that could be sort of because these guys worked
Legato
really well.
was actually better than I expected.
So basically,
they didn't even take the pin, did they?
No, they didn't. That's
what
I mean. I was surprised that I thought that's why they were included, right? Was to take the pin. So build this division, and then inevitably, obviously, Everrise it rules the division forever going forward.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just because I love Everrise. But no, I thought this match was awesome. What did you think?
Yeah, it was good. But so before I go into that, I'm just going to go over the picks quick, just because.
Yeah.
So Dunn and Kushida, we both picked Dunn, so that's one for both of us.
I don't think I'm going to do too well on this.
I'm going to keep tally. So Loomis, we both picked. So both of us got that one wrong. MSK and Legato.
You picked. I did not.
I picked. The triple threat. I picked MSK, so that's one for me, and you picked
GYV.
Yeah, so
not for me.
Yeah, and then we both picked Walter. So
right,
3-2 so far. All right.
So
I thought this was good. I really liked it. Actually, one of my favorite matches of the night. I thought that towards the end it was really good, but I think throughout it was stellar.
I think
it too. Legato is pretty good in ring. It's just they're not super prominent or interesting. So I think their inclusion was actually kind of smart here because I think adding that third dimension,
elevated them. I think
in adding the third dimension, I think just makes it a little more interesting in my opinion.
Yeah, they just don't have like a track record of looking strong, right? They've been sort of at times they have, and then they've sort of just been kind of there. So I think this elevated them. I thought they looked really good. They probably won't get a ton of attention from it, but I think they
can be included in this. And like if they ever did like those multi-team ladder matches, I think they're always a good choice. They're like a good hand to have.
Is there faction babyface now?
No.
We'll talk about it on night 2, I guess. I think maybe they are.
No, because then they kind of Escobar kind of went back heel.
I guess I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about it. But anyways, love the match, and that takes us
it was good.
Right into the main event, right? Already, I'm like, did I miss a match or something? But no, this is the main event.
Right, there's only like 5 matches per night.
And that is Raquel Gonzalez versus Io Shirai. I was looking forward to this. I think it was the right choice for the main event on night 1. This has been built really, really well, I think. Io being your classic babyface wants to take on all challengers, looking for the biggest challenge. Gonzalez has been just trying to take her out and kill her lately and can't do it. Io Shirai refuses to die, sort of thing is the idea. So this is your huge monster challenger powerhouse versus the technical high-flying wizard in Io Shirai. I love that combination. So let's see how it goes. Starts out with Io charging and attacking as soon as the bell rings, but Gonzalez shoves her off and hits a big boot. Io uses her quickness, obviously, and hits an early Hurricane Rana. Io stomps Gonzalez in the corner, goes for a double running knees, but it was kind of cool. Gonzalez catches her and sort of overpowers her at that point. Io later sends Gonzalez outside, follows with a tope suicida. Dakota Kai tries to get involved, but is taken out right away by Io and then sent to the back by the ref, so she will not be present at ringside. We get an apron kick and a moonsault by Io. Gonzalez then catches Io and launches her into the ring post. Gonzalez uses her power to dominate Io and gets a near fall after a trio of elbows. Io tries to battle back but takes a big right hand before being put into that over-the-shoulder backbreaker that Gonzalez does. Io hits an arm drag and the Tiger Feint kick, and followed by
the 619.
Right, followed by a springboard missile drop kick. Actually, a couple of them. Code Red works for a 2 count by Io. Io counters the one-arm powerbomb attempt and turns it into a crossface, but Gonzalez manages to make it to the ropes. Outside the ring again, Io hits another moonsault, follows up with a running double stomp on the aisle. Io disappears momentarily, and as the camera pulls back, we see, of course, that she has climbed to the top of, like they said, a 20-foot skull at the top of the ramp.
Yeah, the skull.
Maybe. Anyway, she jumps off impressively.
You can hear like the thud.
I think Io took more of this, right? Like her own legs just smashed that grate.
Right, you can hear the steel,
she's not jumping onto
collision.
a table or a crash mat or something that they usually do.
Just on literally like the steel part of their entrance.
So her legs hit hard.
Right.
Io's nuts. She does not care. Back in the ring.
Io's nuts isn't referring to Io's like nuts.
No, she's just crazy. She just doesn't care. She'll do anything.
Yeah.
Back in the ring, Io hits another moonsault for a 2 count. We hit outside the ring again. Raquel hits her one-armed powerbomb on the floor, but she's kind of damaged at this point and can't follow up right away. Back inside the ring, Raquel yells at Io. Io hits her with the shote strike, the palm strike. But then Gonzalez hits a big clothesline, and I think it's the best sell I've ever seen a woman do of a clothesline. She did the full
flip on the stomach.
Inside, turned her inside out, right? Flipped her completely upside down on this clothesline, which looked awesome. And then Raquel simply picks her up, hits her whatever one-arm powerbomb finisher, and Gonzalez pins Io Shirai clean and is the new NXT Women's Champion.
Yes, you predicted it.
You did, and I did not. I got that one wrong.
4-2.
I thought this was a fantastic main event, and it delivered on my high expectations. I think Gonzalez has basically been handled perfectly. And I said the main roster should take notes, right? She's been slowly brought along, because when she was, Reina Gonzalez?
Yeah. She was in the Mae Young, and she was like a
unimpressive.
She kind of like the cowgirl and she was like a jobber.
She wasn't impressive at all. She's amazing now, a legit main event monster in the women's division. I love the contrast of styles.
She deserves to be champion now, I think.
Yes, Io's charisma and just refusal to die attitude added a lot to this match for me. She sort of hit Gonzalez with everything she had, and Gonzalez just continued to come at her, which was pretty much the story here.
Yeah.
Io's pretty much flawless. Gonzalez is someone that should have a long, storied run with this company, although she feels like somebody the main roster is going to snatch up pretty quickly. I hope Io isn't done at NXT.
I'm afraid.
I am too.
Yeah, and I honestly think, like, why wouldn't they take her? She's great.
What else can she do?
Right. Like,
she's done it all.
She's great, and what else is she going to do?
And what a run she's had at NXT if she is done, right? Like, one of the all-time male or female runs.
Right, like, she didn't start out great, but, like, she came out strong.
Yep.
Like, to the point where, like, I don't know how she can't kill it on the main roster, but then again, it's the main roster, and they are going to eat her alive.
So what did you think of this match?
I thought it was great. I think they were deserving of main eventing.
Me too. They delivered for me.
Yeah.
Oh, they stood and delivered for me.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what Gonzalez does with the title, because I think she deserves it. I think she's worked hard, and she's improved greatly. I think she's gotten to a point where this makes sense.
Yeah. She's legit, man.
And I think Io's done a great job. I think we needed this change. I think
this felt like the right change, because I didn't believe anyone else taking out Io. I kind of
believed Dakota Kai or Candice LeRae. Like, yeah, I mean, because they're pretty good.
They're good, but I still don't think they're beating Io.
Yeah, but I think this felt right. I agree. And the match was great. I liked. I thought you said also the clothesline sell was pretty good. I thought the stage dive was pretty crazy, just because she hit the steel hard.
Yep.
And yeah, it was a really good main event. Good show overall.
Yeah. Do you want to give your overall thoughts?
Overall, I thought it was pretty good. Even my least favorite match, which I guess might have been the Gauntlet Eliminator, I guess, because all the other stuff was just better, not because that one was bad.
Exactly. Just
or it might have been
Pete
John Kushida. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
But I think all the matches were at least really good. So I would give it like an A-.
So I thought
even an A.
I thought this was another takeover I absolutely loved. Every match on this show delivered in one way or another, and the various sort of styles of the matches worked really well too. It was fun from top to bottom for me. The weakest part, as I said, was the first half of the gauntlet match, and even that wasn't bad. Just not
that
as
wasn't even a whole match.
Rest.
That wasn't even a whole match, right?
I really struggle with deciding on the match of the night, because I loved Walter Ciampa, the tag title match and the main event. So like there's and Kushida Dunn was really good too. So what I'm saying is basically 4.5 of the matches on this night were excellent. Like I thought excellent. and it earns an easy A from me for sure, like not even without a thought. I thought this was a blast. Great job by everybody involved, and that night 2 has a really tough act to follow, I thought, after this show.
Yeah.
This felt like a regular Takeover where everything was built pretty well and everything delivered, so I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we'll move into night 2 of NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. And the pre-show match here was Breezango versus Dane and Maverick for the number 1 contendership to the tag team titles. So just quickly, Dane gained the advantage early with his power, dominated both members of Breezango. Maverick tagged in and loses the momentum for his team, obviously. Then Dane gains control again and starts using Maverick as a weapon, as he does in all their matches. Breezango later isolate Maverick in their corner. Maverick finally manages to counter a suplex, and he sprints across the ring to tag in Dane. Dane cleans house, leading to a combination Samoa drop follow-away suplex to both members of Breezango. Maverick hit a Hurricane Rana from the top rope and tried to celebrate with Dane, and Dane just picks him up and power bombs him on top of Breeze for the win. So honestly, it kind of just felt like a decent TV match and nothing more. I do like that the tag division is getting more focused, but neither of these teams feel like a threat, right, to anyone in that top tier.
I think it'll just be like the first classic fodder challenger.
Yeah, I agree. Exactly what it is, just to sort of establish their title run.
I don't know if I almost would have rather Breezango.
Dane and Maverick have grown on me a bit, but basically they do the same thing each week, and I'm wondering how many times Maverick's going to be surprised by Dane picking him up and using him as a weapon, right? Like, it happens every time.
Wait, you're doing it again? Yeah. Come on.
Nothing special, a missable standard pre-show match, basically.
Yeah.
So then...
Oh, yeah, I didn't watch it.
Oh, you didn't see that, right? So we get... there was music, Poppy, right? Playing a song loud.
Yeah, she has to be affiliated with them at some point.
It sounded kind of cool. Like, it's not my cup of tea. It's not like I'm going to download the song, but it kind of made the show feel like a bigger deal. I liked her performance.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of, there's the new song. You know, Grandson?
Yes. New song.
The Bloodwater.
Yeah, I saw.
The dirty one. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Bloodwater's that one that we really like from him. And then his new Dirty.
Yeah.
I watched it. I've heard it on the radio a couple times, and then I saw an ad for the music video on Instagram, so I went to watch the music video because it looked odd, and it was odd.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like that.
Nice. So this show opens with the Cruiserweight Championship to sort of decide who the real champion is. We've got the champion Santos Escobar against the champion Jordan
funny
Devlin.
Is you wrote, yeah, and you just said it too, is like you wrote C for both of them.
Champion. And it's a ladder match, so the winner is going to have to climb up a ladder and grab both of the belts to unify them. So the match starts with a brief brawl and some holds and counters. Actually, did you want to explain for people who aren't, how did we get to the point where there's 2 belts?
Okay, so... let's see. Towards the end of 2019, Lio Rush was the Cruiserweight Champion, who lost it to Angel Garza. This was back when it was still the purple strap. And then it was rechristened the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, given the new faceplate and the black strap.
Yep.
A design upgrade, in my opinion. And Angel Garza lost it in a fatal 4-way to Jordan Devlin, which also involved Isaiah Scott and Travis Banks. Mm-hmm. And then Devlin defended, I think, a bit on UK, and then he also made a few appearances on NXT Main.
Yep.
And then the pandemic hit, forcing him out of the US.
Right.
And he couldn't defend the title, so they held a round-robin style tournament for the interim Cruiserweight title. And it soon became for the NXT Cruiserweight title, and just like no interim. And which
annoyed Devlin, right? I remember
which
him tweeting about it.
He pointed out in a promo, I think, also later.
Yep.
And El Hijo del Fantasma won, defeating Jake Maverick. And then the Max guys who had been in a storyline attacked Maverick, and so did Fantasma, and he unmasked, became Santos Escobar, formed Legado del Fantasma.
And here we are.
And then, so he's defeated a bunch of guys, I think Swerve, Jake Atlas, Grand Metalik.
Yep.
Someone else probably. And then Devlin's been kind of promo saying he's the real Cruiserweight champion because he never lost it. He's actually defended a few times
Classic
in UK
storyline. He's never lost the belt.
Basically what they've done with Michaels and Ramon for the Intercontinental title, and Zayn and Jeff Hardy for the
Which is why
Intercontinental
Michaels
title.
introduced the ladder aspect to it.
So basically it's the true champion, because Escobar's been reigning for a while, and Devlin's also never lost it.
And that's the depth of Jackson's memory, because he didn't know I was going to ask that, and that was all just off the top of his head. That whole history there was no notes. Didn't know I was going to ask.
No,
all right.
yeah.
So Devlin connects with a nice acai moonsault, brings out the first ladder. It took a little while for a ladder to make an appearance, which I kind of liked a little bit.
But there's like a lot of technical wrestling.
There was to start, right? Yeah, and kind of sprinkled throughout too, which was nice. So he ends up getting whipped into this ladder that he actually introduces into the match. Escobar repeatedly then, a little bit later, rams the ladder into Devlin's midsection as he's sort of sitting in the corner, and then he finally drop kicks the ladder into Devlin's stomach. And this was just a note of mine that there's a lot of midsection targeting on this show, like multiple Bronson Reed's, or not even this show, but this pay-per-view, because Reed's midsection, this midsection, Cross's midsection.
Although I thought Reed's was this show, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was this show.
It was this match.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Coming up.
The Gargano match.
Devlin escapes a monkey flip by landing on the ladder, but hits a nice leaping DDT from the ladder to Escobar. We get more high-impact moves onto ladders. Devlin hits a huge moonsault from the top of the tallest ladder in the match. I think if you look, you'll see referees are sort of stabilizing the ladder for him, which is probably smart.
Yeah, he was like literally on the top of the ladder, which you're not supposed to do.
Right. It looked awesome, but man, they could tone down the replays. They replayed it like 5-6 times in a row, but from the bird's eye view, it looked amazing. So that set up Devlin to win the match, but as he climbed the ladder, Legado del Fantasma ran to the ring, shoved Devlin off the ladder to the floor. Legado delivered a few strikes before Escobar basically told them they can leave, that he's got it under control, so they do. Escobar climbs the ladder, but Devlin throws a different ladder at him. So this sort of staggers Escobar, but he's remaining on the ladder still. So Devlin takes this opportunity to set up a ladder beside Escobar, and he ends up hitting a really cool looking Spanish fly from pretty close to the top of the ladders, right? Devlin's incredibly graceful in his aerial stuff, right?
Yeah,
he's a technical wizard too, but
his moonsault's like
really graceful. Eventually, they climb opposite sides of the same ladder before Escobar shoves Devlin off of the ladder and into another one that was sort of set up leaning against the turnbuckles in the corner, and it looked like a really hard fall through that ladder. He really crashed through it. So this gives Escobar plenty of time to grab the title belts and become the undisputed cruiserweight champion. I really enjoyed this match.
Sad.
I thought it was a smart choice for the opener. It may not have been the crazy pace of some ladder matches, right? Because there was some technical wrestling involved, but I kind of liked it, and there were still some really big spots, right? Devlin's aerial maneuvers look really graceful and are cool. I hope Escobar, I was kind of hoping he would ascend beyond this division, but maybe the plan is that he's just going to make this division better, right? So it looks like he's sticking around in the cruiserweight division. I think he's ready for bigger and better things, but I'm not totally unhappy with the result. Devlin looked really good here too. He's graceful. He's a technician. It wasn't an amazing ladder match, but I thought it was really good. Like, I enjoyed it, and I thought it was a solid opener tonight too. What did you think?
Yeah, it was good. I think we've had some better ladder matches.
For sure.
I think I liked O'Reilly and Dunn better.
And even probably on AEW as well, I would say. But remember the tag ladder match I loved? That was insane. But yeah, this was a good match, a good opener.
Yeah, it was good. And so you picked this one.
Yeah, I did.
I did not.
Nice.
I've already tallied the final score, but I'll say that at the end.
So then I thought we took a step back here. This was the Women's Tag Team Championship.
How about 5 steps back?
Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon versus The Way. This, I don't know. This was one of the ones, right, where I don't think there was a ton of build to this, and that's what NXT So I think this was NXT Takeover the dilution this second night, right? Because if you cherry pick 5 matches from these 2 shows and put them on one card, it's freaking amazing, right? But because they did 2 nights, they had to add a few matches. Some of these storylines aren't really developed. This was one of them I didn't think was strongly developed. We figured this was going to be our least favorite match going in, and it was for me. But anyways, so they come in, Shotzi and Ember on their tank, right? And now Ember's wearing some sort of like dragon mask or something.
And a frickin' tail.
So they've taken their pile of 1,000 gimmicks and added a couple more gimmicks on top.
They've taken their dumb entrance and like multiplied that by 1,000.
You know what's the best gimmick? Every gimmick. Just pile them all together.
And just bombard your brain with a million things.
So anyways, Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae are representing The Way, obviously. And Indy and Candice get off to a strong start here. They isolate Shotzi and keep Ember Moon out of the equation early. It continued that way for an extended period of time, with Hartwell using her strength and size to cut off the attempts to tag out. But Blackheart eventually is able to tag, obviously, and she sort of Ember Moon comes in and makes a hot tag. Leads to a big Tower of Doom spot with all 4 women crashing to the canvas. Sort of awkwardly, couldn't quite tell who was hitting what, but it looked kind of cool still. Blackheart and Moon finally get rolling on offense, leading Moon to hold the ropes open for a suicide dive where LeRae and Hartwell sort of parted like the Red Sea and let Shotzi almost die, it looked like.
But she over-rotated so much that she's, I think, saved herself.
I don't know if, we like to blame, you like to blame Shotzi, because she is a bit reckless, but I don't know if this was her fault, because they just didn't catch her at all, so it looked really dangerous. So that was one awkward spot. Moon came off the top rope to the outside with a flipping senton seconds later, but the challengers again managed to take over on Blackheart's back in the ring and scoring a near fall. Then we sort of get a brief scramble. Moon comes off the top rope with a double eclipse, so she hits it to both of them at the same time.
Which is always even dumber than the actual eclipse.
I was not a fan because the eclipse looks cool, but it requires your opponent
it's just so
to hold an unnatural position in a wrestling ring, right? Like kind of standing there stooped over, and this required 2 of them to stand that way.
Right.
So I wasn't a fan. Then Shotzi hit a senton from the top on Hartwell that looked painful because she really nailed her with it, and they score the pin and retain the titles. I would say a decent match, but nothing special, especially considering this was on a takeover during WrestleMania week. Shotzi was sloppy in a couple spots as usual. The dive she made was scary, but I don't know if that was her fault. I'm not quite sure. Indy looked solid and she has some decent power moves. I'm not sure she's quite ready for this. I think she is improving, and I'm a sucker for the tag teams where one person's the big power person and the other's the small speed technical. So I like her and LeRae's combo. I don't know if she's quite ready for takeovers, main parts of takeovers. One thing we forgot to mention, Ember Moon did what I think was remember the little dancing thing? I think she was trying to be Road Dogg.
Right.
It was I cringed.
Bad.
I know the term cringy is overused and whatever right now among the youth, but I literally cringed.
Yeah.
Really bad. She needs to stop doing that.
She needs to never do that ever again. I don't want to see that ever again.
And again, not much build to this. No chance that the challengers are going to win, so that's not a recipe for a strong match. I talked about my problems with the Eclipse. And I feel like Shotzi and Ember Moon seem to be targeting kids with their act, and that's why I'm missing it, right? They're loud and colorful.
I think they're targeting idiots.
They're loud and colorful. They drive a toy tank. They have juvenile catchphrases.
They literally have a dart gun on the tank.
They dance in the ring now, and that's probably why I just can't connect with them as a team, right? So anyways, my least favorite match from the 2 nights by a wide margin, but that's what I expected. You?
Yeah, I didn't like this. It was kind of slow and boring, and oh my god, Ember Moon and Shotzi are stupid.
It just felt like a TV match, right?
The challengers were unbelievable, and honestly, I already don't give a damn about these titles, and because you
took them off people on the first night,
right? You awarded them to people who are good. You took them off those people the same night they were awarded them, and gave them to crappy people
when they'd beaten this team to win them in the first place.
And so now, I don't care, and I don't like them, and then this match is not great. So
the men's tag division looks like it's coming together really nicely. The women's needs some work.
The women's singles is, I think, good. I don't think this division specifically is that good.
Great. All right, so we'll move on to the North American Championship match, which is Johnny Gargano versus the winner of the gauntlet match from the night before, which was Bronson Reed, as we just discussed. So Gargano clearly is trying to utilize his speed to get the upper hand early, but Reed escapes with it was a bit of an awkward cartwheel thing, right? The cartwheel wasn't awkward, it was whatever happened just before that, but he tosses Gargano with a big fallaway slam. Later, Gargano slips off Reed's back outside the ring and shoves him into the corner of the announce table, and this is where the damage to Reed's ribs/midsection, to me it looked lower than ribs, but they keep calling it ribs, but it will become a huge focus for Gargano throughout this match. Gargano applies a modified Cobra Clutch while driving knees into Reed's midsection before Reed catches Gargano coming off the ropes and delivers a power slam and a spinning choke slam, which was pretty cool. Reed hits what they called, I hadn't caught it before, I don't think, the Jagged Edge, which is his Death Valley driver, which I think he looks good because he jumps into it. It looks pretty solid. Gargano, I don't want to keep saying Gargano. Gargano hit a backstabber, but Reed came back with a brainbuster.
Mr. Gargano.
Reed went up top trying to hit his tsunami after he did hit a razor's edge, but Gargano moved, landed a super kick for a near fall. Gargano lines up another super kick, but Reed catches the foot and lands a headbutt and a clothesline before again heading up top. Austin Theory then distracts Reed, allowing Gargano to look for a top rope Hurricane Rana, which Reed countered but dropped Gargano in a somewhat awkward. Remember, it wasn't what they were planning to do, but we don't know what they were trying to do, but it was definitely not the plan here. There's a little bit of an awkward moment. Reed recovers with a power bomb, but Theory puts Gargano's foot on the bottom rope sort of as he walks by to break up the pinfall. Gargano sends Reed into the middle rope.
Maybe because that's what they say on commentary sometimes.
They do, and hits a pair of super kicks before Reed hits one of his own and went for his moonsault again. His moonsault, which was kind of impressive. But as we said, big man moonsault. Gargano moves out of the way.
I saw it also.
And then he hits his one final beat, but he has to do it twice to sort of put some respect to Bronson Reed, I guess. Take my finisher twice before I pin you. But he does, and Johnny Gargano retains the North American title. What did you think?
I liked it. I think Bronson Reed, like we said,
this is where he started
better.
to grow on you even more.
Right, I think he looked pretty good here. I think Gargano's obviously going to help that.
For sure.
It's Johnny Gargano.
Gargano.
Gargano, yeah, but I thought Reed looked good here. He had some pretty cool moves here, and I think he's improving.
Yeah.
And
he's a nice combination, right, of power, speed, and agility. It's kind of unique, and in a very large body.
Right.
I enjoyed the match. I thought Bronson Reed looked really good.
I thought the rib attack, it was more of a gut attack.
I liked that the way the attack, like he kind of turned so many things into attacking Reed's midsection, right? And he's so good at it. And it looked like it was just spur of the moment, but obviously it was planned. But it looked like it just makes sense, right? What he's doing, and keep attacking the midsection was creative. A criticism for me would be Reed is selling that midsection injury like crazy, yet most of the offense he's delivering would hurt that midsection, right? So he's doing stuff like power slams, moonsaults, and splashes when he's selling this mega hurt midsection. So that is a bit of nitpicking, but if you're selling it, you shouldn't be looking to hit moves that are going to affect it, right?
Unless, I guess the splashes is finisher,
yes,
to be fair.
But everything else was kind of... So I imagine there's big plans for Reed because he's got that unique look and a combination of power and speed and agility. Not close to Johnny's best Takeover performance, obviously, because he's got some all-timers for me, including maybe my favorite match ever. But I found I found this match entertaining. It does its job of further legitimizing Reed, I think, for the future, yeah?
When are you ever going to not be like, oh, best match ever?
Gargano, Andrade, best match ever. Go watch it.
I would say DIY Revival's better than that.
Nope, you're wrong. You can be wrong.
You're wrong.
You have the right to be wrong.
No, you have the right to be wrong, because I think you are wrong.
All right, so we move into, which is interesting because it doesn't even get the main event on this show, the NXT Championship match, which is Finn Balor defending against Karrion Kross. Yeah, Kross showed that Balor, it was sort of obviously you've got the big...
Oh, wait, you got the last match wrong. I got it right.
Oh, okay.
It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. So basically it's Kross looking for power and Balor looking to sort of... The whole thing has been that Balor's fitness level is off the charts. There's no way stamina-wise Kross can keep up, to the point where he said, that's not even what I'm trying to do. I'm going to focus on my deadly strikes and my power to try and stop him early, sort of thing. And that's what we're left with. So we basically have a test of strength at the beginning from Balor, and Kross kind of shrugs it off. Balor applies a headlock for a little while. Kross is finally able to get out of that as well. Balor with a leg kick. Kross just kind of laughs it off. Another leg kick and a chop from Balor, and Kross just sort of beels Balor across the ring. Balor laughs at Kross's attacks. Kross snaps and begins to take the fight to Balor for a brief stretch of dominance before Balor locks in an armbar. Kross tries to escape with a slam, only to have his shoulder driven into the ground before Balor puts on a hammerlock. Balor continues to try and break down the body of Kross, attacking the midsection again. Very similar to and the commentary even said it, and I was thinking it, very similar to the Kyle O'Reilly Balor, where there's a kick,
like the soul kick,
a slight delay, and then like they're grabbing their midsection. So it's again this attack to the liver sort of thing. Kross is able to come back with a flurry of offense of his own and a big power bomb, but Balor, he grabs his ribs there, so then that gives Balor a chance to kick out as Kross is sort of selling his midsection injury still. Balor fires back with a series of knees to the body and a stomp before grinding away with more elbows into the body. The body attack continues. Balor hits the coup de grace, but Cross kicked out and immediately locked in a choke. So I don't know. I guess that's supposed to make Cross look strong, right? But you're taking the guy's finisher and you've been selling that area. It used to be his main finisher, but now not. And you've been selling that area the whole time, right? And he's hit you with it and you still kick out and apply a choke. Balor rolls through, hits another stomp, and again, sort of working on the ribs. He locks in a submission, attacking the ribs, but Cross escapes and delivers a series of forearms to the back that did not look very strong to me, right? We sort of were like, those don't look like they hurt. Before a Doomsday Saito, which does look like it hurts. Cross hit Balor with 2 big forearms to the back of the neck and scores the pin, winning back the NXT Championship. He technically never lost. Thoughts?
I thought the match was fine. Like I can understand now why it's not the main event.
Right.
And I
hate the result.
I don't like the result either. Like, I guess, like, you were saying it's not great that he's 2-time champion, and I agree. But to be fair, he didn't have a first run. But then I don't think because I think he's pretty main roster bound, so I think this title run's
it's a main
worthless.
roster act, for sure.
Right, and I think Balor's doing really good work right now.
That's my problem, this is the first time that I've been all in on North American Balor. Because ever since he's come, he's been missing something for me.
Not even NXT.
And it's been mostly... No, like, he's always been great in the ring, but I don't connect with his character, and now I do. He's so much more confident. He knows what he's doing.
Maybe
his promos
he's main
are
roster
really
bound,
good.
unfortunately, but then
That's my fear.
But the thing is, now I would be worried about him, whereas Cross, I'm like, yeah, take him.
So my hope is that he gets a rematch, wins it back, Cross goes away, and my fear
Cross is like another week on.
My fear is Balor's gone because now he's a complete character and he's amazing.
He's been there before too, right. So it's like we're taking him back.
So I thought this was a good, but not great title match. This is not up to Takeover standards in my opinion.
I agree.
Right?
This would be a good TV match.
So Cross is, and this isn't nice, but he's the anti-Walter. Walter's big, but not a body guy, and he looks kind of soft and whatever, but everything he does looks like it's going to kill you.
Cross is like a few, like his Saito suplexes, and then
that's
what
my
else?
Exception.
And then
Cross
what else?
Looks super intimidating.
I think the only
he's huge, he's jacked, he's tattooed, he's got this angry gimmick, and his offense is soft.
I think the only time his forearm to the back of the head actually hit good was the first time he used it.
So his Saitos, I think, look awesome, and everything else, I'm just like, that doesn't look like it hurts. That doesn't look like it hurts. Whereas Walter's like, everything looks like death. So Finn worked really hard here. He dominated a good portion of this match, and then Cross just kind of took over with his power and his strikes, which was the story going in.
If they insist on having like Cross and the other guys in the main event, Balor would be a great North American champion.
I think he's above that at this point.
Yeah, but
honestly, I've never been a huge fan of Balor in North America, but I am now, and this is when they're sort of deep pushing him. Hopefully not. I don't love Cross as the champion. He doesn't feel like an NXT guy. He's a main roster guy accumulating credentials down here, it feels like. He's a decent big man for sure. I just don't find his matches that interesting or his offense that real looking.
And we both got this wrong.
It wasn't a bad match. It's just not a Takeover championship match.
I agree. And we both picked Balor.
Yep, of course. So then we get to the main event, which is one of the matches I was looking forward to the most for sure, and that is Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly in an unsanctioned match. So
they both had generic themes. I thought Cole's was Cole's was like good because like I feel like I could hear like a thing. It kind of sounds similar to his indie theme, like that he had in like ROH. And he did the boom thing still, even though it did not work at all.
Yeah, it didn't fit at all.
I feel like they could have incorporated that into his theme.
It seems like an odd choice to debut new themes on a major show because the fans can't get into it, or you know what I mean?
I think Cole should have kept the Undisputed Era theme just because I think he's the biggest star.
Maybe he's going to come out with it.
And he's the one with the entrance to it, right? He's got the boom.
He had the
and
whole thing.
Right, like he's the one who I think would deserve it the most and probably could use it the most. Even his Adam Cole
Bebe wasn't as...
It works. You're right. And I think that works better with the Undisputed Era theme too. And O'Reilly's, I found like it was just generic kind of rock, and that one was...
Bless you.
Thanks. I found that one kind of repetitive and annoying. I thought Cole's was fine. Otherwise, it was kind of annoying.
Yep. So
and O'Reilly, had a vest and it's an axe. It had like axes, and then it said "and smash."
Right.
And then he had like these Bigfoot kind of feet on his knee pads, and he had like axes on the back of his.
Yep.
And I didn't understand any of it. Like, I don't know. I was confused why he didn't have like the KO apostrophe on his knee, because I thought that was kind of cool.
I don't know what the
change was.
And
then Cole had like AC kind of like he usually does on the front, and then on the side he had like the Bebe hands, which I thought was kind of cool.
But no era gear anymore.
On the back it says Bebe, which I thought was cool. So
yep.
I don't know. I thought Cole's gear and theme was better.
So I had super high expectations for this match. This has been built really, really well. So, I mean, I say that, but there were some things along the way I didn't love. Right?
It's been built pretty well.
The police involvement stuff was kind of lame, but everything else, what do they call the prime target? That was awesome. So that helped. I
even thought the contract signing when they revealed the stipulation.
Oh yeah, that was really good. That was
really good. I like that.
So a very strong build to this, a very deep history between these two guys. It should be fantastic. So let's see how it goes. O'Reilly starts with a boot to the face, and Cole answers right away with a pump kick. The action heads outside. O'Reilly locks in an armbar. Cole breaks it with a series of stomps to the face. O'Reilly delivers some stomps and drives Cole into the barricades. Cole starts to attack O'Reilly's neck, which he has hurt. That's part of the story, right? Is he gave O'Reilly a brainbuster on the steps as one of his attacks, so the neck is sort of compromised. So he attacks O'Reilly's neck before delivering a neck breaker. Oh, sorry, the patella drop?
Brainbuster.
There you go. Pretty early on in the match, it made an appearance. Cole began yelling at O'Reilly and saying basically like, I made you and you're ungrateful, etc. This fires O'Reilly up and he storms back, absorbing Cole's strikes and landing some of his own. O'Reilly works over Cole's arm and drove him through a chair with a side suplex. O'Reilly delivers a drop kick from the apron to the floor where Cole was seated on a steel chair. Cole would then introduce this chain, which is where I started to have some issues. So he introduces a chain and takes a neck breaker right on it. And he so neatly piles this chain up, like just in a perfect pile to get a neck breaker on it, and then takes it. So I found that a bit.
O'Reilly did, right?
A bit cheesy. Cole continues to attack O'Reilly's neck, hitting a German suplex that sent him into a chair. Cole hit a follow-up Shining Wizard for a 2 count. Cole sets up the steps outside of the ring, but O'Reilly locks in a guillotine choke before he could use them. O'Reilly then hesitates to drive Cole into the ring steps, sort of refusing to stoop to that level and do what Cole did to him, sort of a la Matt Jackson, it felt like.
Except maybe better.
Instead, he drove Cole into the announce table with the brainbuster. A desperate Cole hit O'Reilly with a TV screen at this point, and then sent him back into the ring. O'Reilly would lock in a triangle choke, but Cole was able to grab a tire iron out of there was a toolbox at one point that got introduced into this match, so he grabs a tire iron and hits O'Reilly in the ribs, so another midsection attack. They both sit in chairs at one point and sort of do a strike exchange, which to me felt a little contrived. I didn't love that spot either. Cole scored a near fall with a super kick, wrapped a chair around the neck of O'Reilly. The referee's telling Cole, you don't want to do this, you could really hurt him. And then Cole just takes out the referee at this point, right? This proved to be a bad move because
he's a mad boy.
It's funny, he knocks the referee out.
Right, and then he hits a move and goes for the pin. And he's like,
right.
What?
So that was a bit of
stupid.
A mistake, I think. So he takes the ref out, hits a Panama Sunrise, and goes for a cover when he knows he just killed the ref. So anyways, Cole and O'Reilly then battle up the ramp before O'Reilly locks in a guillotine choke again. Cole escapes by driving him through the metal grating on the ramp. This is one of the big spots where there's clearly a gimmicked portion of the ramp that they get sent through.
I wonder if they gimmicked it after night one, because I feel like that's around the area that EO crashed.
Could be. Oh yeah, it felt like a little further down. And then Cole ends up having to punch through the side of the ramp to pull O'Reilly out.
Why wouldn't you just pull him out of the hole?
Yeah, I didn't quite understand. I guess it was supposed to look cool. Cole suplexes O'Reilly under the ring steps, and then they head back in the ring. And then he basically more use of the chain here. The one thing I don't know if I got it specifically that I did like was when they used the chain for the clothesline, right? I think O'Reilly was going for a running attack on Cole.
That was cool because I figured there would be something like that.
And Cole at the last second just pulls the chain up and straight because it was hooked to the ropes and it was like a nice clothesline. That looked cool. Otherwise, I was not a fan of the chain. O'Reilly makes another comeback, hits the last shot to the back of Cole's neck. And then we get one final back and forth before the finish. And it's O'Reilly managing to sort of wrap his knee kind of in a chain. Again, more chain issues, I thought. drives it into Cole, who was sort of set up on an upside down chair. So it was like his King Kong knee drop with the chain onto O'Reilly.
King Kong?
I don't know. He's been using that knee drop as a finisher, right? O'Reilly has. So he has a chain on it. Adam Cole's on an upside down chair, knee drop through the chair with the chain to score the 3 count to bring the match to the end.
We both picked O'Reilly.
I would say this is the biggest win of O'Reilly's career. What did you think of the match?
I thought it was good. I think there's a little too much chain in the match, but I thought it was pretty good. There were some cool spots. I think the stage was pretty cool. Dive was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think O'Reilly deserves the win. I think that's good for him.
Me too.
I'm interested to see whether this feud really continues or they both move on for a bit and maybe revisit it later. Either way, I think that would be fine, but I think they did really good and was main event worthy in my opinion.
I had really high expectations for this match, and I will say it was good, but I was disappointed in it, if I'm being totally honest.
That's kind of how I felt about like Walter Ciampa.
I love that one.
Even I loved it too, but I had like higher expectations, I think.
So I wouldn't say I love this. I would say it was good.
Yeah.
For me, the stipulation took away from it a little bit, and the match was really long, like 40 minutes plus. I believe it was just over 40 minutes. The momentum didn't carry me through it. I wanted to see these two guys. They're amazing wrestlers. I wanted to see them wrestle, and I felt like the action
I feel like they could have benefited more from it.
It was interrupted by these contrived spots. The issues with chains, crashing through the stage even was like, eh.
And you know what I find odd is in the same match, Gargano and Ciampa, who are both, I think, equally as good as these guys, were able to have like a good match with the unsanctioned match, and like, because they're both good wrestlers.
Yes.
So like, I find it weird that these guys weren't able to do that. I guess like, too much chain and whatnot, but like, I feel like they should have been able to still have like a really good match.
And the part where they were in the chairs striking each other just felt like planned stuff that they were checking off as they went through, right? Which I didn't love. I was hoping I always am, to feel like I felt about Balor O'Reilly, and I didn't feel that way. Like that one, I was on the edge of my seat. I was into it the whole time, and it was fantastic. This wasn't to that level, in my opinion. It sounds like I'm ripping this match apart. I did enjoy it. I can't deny that these two guys worked their butts off and just killed each other in this match. I'm happy that O'Reilly got the win. I think he needed it. It cements him as like a top babyface in this company. But here's my fear. They're building him up to feed him to Cross as a title defense.
Yeah, because they fed him to Balor.
So I'm a bit worried about that. I think Cole can take a loss here better, right? Like he's still...
Because I think he's so good at being a heel.
He's at that level where a loss doesn't hurt him that much,
like he had a monster run as the champ, I think, and he's just such a good heel. Yeah, you can build him back up, and I think I am kind of worried about that, because that's basically what they did.
It looks like where they're going.
They built O'Reilly a bit, and then they fed him to Balor twice.
So we got to hope that the Balor Cross rematch, Balor wins, and then Balor can defend against O'Reilly again would be fun. I don't know.
Right, because I don't...
But I doubt it.
I think either way, like, even if it is Balor, I think O'Reilly might be fed, or he could beat Balor. Like, Balor, although I don't want Balor to be a transition. I don't know, man. I think Cross winning the title screws everything up.
Bottom line for me, I was expecting an A+ match, and for me, what I got was a B match. Like, good, but I was expecting to be blown away by this, and I was not.
Yeah.
Overall thoughts
I would agree.
On the pay-per-view?
I thought the show was good majority, because I thought the main event was like pretty good. I think my favorite match might have been the North American title match, if I'm being honest.
I think that's
I thought the ladder match was pretty good.
Which is crazy to say.
And I did not really like Balor and Cross, and I did not like the women's tag title match. And I was pretty positive on the show, but like in hindsight, I think
the last time you said you didn't like two matches on a takeover, right? Never.
Cole and O'Reilly should have had like match of the year contender.
That's what I agree. Like that. So what are you saying grade wise?
I guess like a B-,
which is
I kind of liked it.
A takeover is weak, right?
Yeah, B-. I'm almost at a C+, but I'm gonna go B- just to be a little generous.
I preferred night one.
Yeah, I would give that an A-.
But I don't think this was a bad show necessarily. The opening
it's
cruiserweight,
just maybe by takeover standards though.
Exactly. A cruiserweight opener was good. North American title match and the main event were good, right? But again, not to the level I thought for the main event. And that's the thing. Takeover set the bar so incredibly high for themselves on these shows. Balor Cross was fine, but Cross just at this point isn't my cup of tea. The women's tag match was not worthy of being on a pay-per-view, in my opinion. I think it's one of the weaker Takeover matches I can think of, if I'm being honest. Nothing was awful on this show, but nothing blew me away. So if you want to know the truth, I preferred Walter Ciampa, the tag team triple threat, Shirai Gonzalez, and maybe even Dun Kushida to everything on this show.
Maybe.
And that's weird.
Gauntlet was pretty good.
So overall, this show wasn't a chore to watch, but it wasn't a joy like most takeovers are. So I gave it a B.
I'm waiting to see if I'll like one of WrestleMania nights better than this. I'm honestly
I would
curious.
love to, but I highly doubt it.
I doubt it, but if that happens, then they've messed up.
Because I do want to enjoy wrestling, so I would love to see a main roster show that I love. I gave it a B. Night 1 I thought was fantastic, and night 2 was solid, but not great.
So like overall a mixed bag, I guess.
Yeah, like a B+ show maybe if you combine both of them.
Yep.
But yeah, night 1 I highly recommend basically everything on that show if you haven't seen it yet and you're looking for us to give you a recommendation.
Night 2 I'd go North American title, and I guess in the ladder match, I guess the main event, because it is they've been storytelling it a bunch.
Yeah, and it's a major part of the story going on the show. So yeah, okay. Well, that finishes up NXT and takes us into our next segment, which is where we'll talk about some other wrestling stuff from this week, and that is any other wrestling business.
Right. So with the double NXT, we figured just to cut time a bit, I won't be doing the match this week.
Yeah, we'll go back to it next week.
But we will return next week, which will be number 8. Right. But you said you have Ring of Honor and Impact.
I do. We have figured we had a packed show, so we'll push that until next week. So yeah, I'm going to talk about Ring of Honor from this week. I watched it really early this week, so it's going to be me refreshing my memory, going over my notes here. So Quinn welcomes us to Ring of Honor and reveals the matches for tonight's episode. The main event will feature Eli Isom, fresh off a surprise win over Ray Orris last week, versus LSG, who's got recent wins over Bandito and Tony Deppen.
What does that stand for again?
I can't remember, actually. Along with Jay Lethal. He took Lethal to the time limit and lost a decision, which I actually thought he won, if I'm being honest. Again, no reference to the 19th anniversary pay-per-view. So for
Leon St. Giovanni.
Oh, that's right. So this means this is yet another basically meaningless episode where we'll get no reference to the pay-per-view that happened 2 weeks ago now, right? So that's a little bit frustrating and puts me not in the best mood for this show, but we'll see how it goes. We're then shown footage of the finish of last week's Pure Gauntlet match where Yehi submitted Wheeler Yuta in the Koji clutch. Even had to switch angles he was using it at to avoid anyways, it was a cool finish. This is followed by comments from Fred Yehi as he spoke with Quinn McKay after the match from last week. He mentions Dak Draper right away and complains that Draper basically won with a punch in a Pure Rules match, which is kind of true. He was victorious in the first ever Pure Gauntlet match, and he is in the business of breaking people. Yehi leaves, and Quinn tells us that Yehi sounded so pleasant, but was so scary. I thought it was a decent post-match promo. Yehi and Draper seems like a program that may continue because they referred to it here. And now Yehi has a big win because he hadn't been winning so much lately. He can use that as momentum if he does try to avenge his loss to Draper, I guess. So this was fine. Quinn's back at the desk now from the interview to tell us that the opener tonight will be the rubber match between the Mecha, Brian Johnson, and Danhausen. And she also talks about how each man can win the series tonight.
Was this the Brian Johnson promo you showed me?
Yes, that I forced you to watch, basically. This leads directly into a fantastic promo from Brian Johnson. I don't know, not a lot of people watch ROH, but you can find, they usually isolate his promos and put them on YouTube because he's incredible. So anyways, he loves wrestling and hates Danhausen. Danhausen Mecha 3 is the most anticipated match on the internet. He's studied their last matches as well, and he's memorized every step. He's watched every match 3 because this is their third match in a series, and he knows that the only one that will be remembered is the winner. He's not a student of the game. He's a teacher, a professor who should have a PhD in the sport of professional wrestling. Danhausen has detention with Mecha, and that leaves Danhausen alone in a world that Johnson has perfected. Danhausen has made a mockery of the sport that Johnson loves for too long, and he's going to put a stop to it. Mecha versus everybody. Now imagine I'm saying that way better and super angry and yelling and intense, and that's Brian Johnson, and he makes you believe it, right? Honestly, a fantastic promo.
It's not even heel logic, it's just
no, he's just...
That's something a normal person could be that's a normal person's point of view.
I have now heard Brian Johnson enough to say he's one of my favorite promos in wrestling. period. He's angry, super intense, generally really believable as the character he's playing. I actually side with him here, even though he's the heel, because I'm not a huge Danhausen fan. I completely understand how Johnson could hate him. This promo style may get stale over time because he does kind of go back to that well, but for now, he's one of the best in my opinion, outside of like...
I think if he's a miserable bastard, he can be angry about anything.
Outside of Eddie Kingston, like, I don't know whose promos I enjoy more than this guy consistently. So if you don't know Brian Johnson, go check out some of his ROH promos recently. I highly recommend them. We then get a counter promo from Danhausen. So he's like, if you haven't seen Danhausen, he's like what would you describe him as? He's like a quirky... Not quite evil, but he's kind of like comedy evil. He's like a cartoon villain, I guess.
Right,
would
and
be
like
how I would say it best.
He refers to himself in the third person. And
carries a bag of teeth.
Like, I honestly don't know how to describe
very
him.
Quirky, very independent sort of feel to him. People love him. I don't, but anyways, he's got a cult following, I think. So he says he's beaten Johnson once, and then Johnson cheated in the second match, and now he has to have a third match. His sack of money is only half full because Johnson cheated. He understands what a rubber match is, he misunderstands it, and he goes on some stupid comparison about what a rubber match could possibly be, because I guess he doesn't understand. Anyways, Johnson will rue the day that he crossed Danhausen. So I put that I can see why Johnson was given 3/4 of the promo time here, because Danhausen really didn't have much to say, and it followed Johnson's amazing promo, so this one really didn't add much for me. We then get the match. And just in general, Danhausen's character, I've now seen him enough to make a decision. It doesn't do much for me. I can see why some people are entertained by him, but I feel this really puts a ceiling on him regarding placement on the card. Like, this isn't a main event gimmick, in my opinion, in a major promotion. I can't see him in or near the main event, but that's not a bad thing, I guess. You got to have people all over the card. So Danhausen won his ROH contract by beating Johnson in their first match, which I'd forgotten, and Johnson used the ropes for leverage to cheat to win the second one, so this is the third and final. Briscoe's on the commentary team for some reason I couldn't understand, but it's sort of revealed at the end, I guess. We get holds and counters, with Danhausen surprising Johnson with some of his technique. Johnson shifts momentum by dropping Danhausen across the ropes before hitting a nice Tower of London in the corner for 2. Johnson's in control for a stretch with knees and clotheslines, and as commentary put over his unorthodox throwback style. Johnson taunts too much. Danhausen goes for a roll-up with a multiple quick pin attempts, leading to a snap German suplex. An outside in German with the bridge for 2 by Danhausen. Thumb to the eye by Johnson. But his knee gives out, and Danhausen puts him in a fireman's carry, spins him around, and takes out the ref by accident. Hits the good night Hausen, which is kind of like a GTS style thing, but of course there's no ref available now to make the count. Johnson's caught using the ropes during his pinfall this time. We get a mule kick low by Johnson, and the trust the process neck breaker driver for the win. Johnson gets a mic and says it's about time he get the matches he deserves, and we enter a mechade of brilliance for Brian Johnson. Right, and he wants to put the entire roster on notice. He yells and screams at the commentary team, and then that answers why Mark Briscoe's there, because he sort of stands up and kind of walks towards Johnson saying stuff to him, so it looks like they're setting up a next feud for Johnson there. I thought this was actually a really entertaining back-and-forth match. I appreciated Danhausen didn't engage in a ton of his antics and made it feel a bit more serious. Brian Johnson's awesome. I hope he can move up the card somewhat. And I'm hoping, based on his momentum from winning this match and maybe getting a win over one of the Briscoes, could help him, because I think they should focus on Johnson a bit more. He's cool. We then get Jonathan Gresham. He's in a suit holding the Pure title as he speaks. Lethal and Gresham will wrestle one more time for the Pure title on the 500th episode. Lethal speaks and is fired up and says it's time to find out who the best wrestler is. I didn't think this was anything more than really announcing that this match will happen.
I saw that there was a vote to decide which tag team would face off.
Right.
And they got voted.
Yes, so they do that sometimes now. Because that's how Danhausen got on for a while too, was people were voting him, I think they've started to sort of give fans a chance to pick stuff at
which is kind of cool.
Yeah, so these promos were nothing. They each said like 2 lines just to sort of introduce this match. LSG then, because he's in our next match, he speaks about why he has targeted the TV title sort of division. He lists people who launched their careers with this title, and that's what he's going to do. His recent matches
do you know who he listed?
No, not offhand. His recent, they usually go with like Brian and if all those guys that had it. Okay. His recent matches have catapulted him into the stratosphere, and what has Eli been doing? They've wrestled before, but this is the new era and a chance for each of them to ascend to greatness. Isom doesn't have the passion that LSG does, and any up-and-coming guy in ROH has to go through him. So LSG is sort of positioning himself as the gatekeeper for younger
Cassius
talent.
Ono.
So I thought this was a decent promo for LSG, and this idea of him as a gatekeeper in that division makes sense, because I don't think he's a contender, but it's like, if there's a new young guy looking to work his way up the ranks, he'll probably get a win over LSG sort of thing to legitimize him a bit. So Isom then has his turn to take in this promo. He talks about beating Ray Orris before talking about his history with LSG. LSG knows his game, but he knows LSG's too, and Isom isn't that same kid that LSG's wrestled before. He's here to win gold, and he's okay with going through LSG to get his shot, and the TV title division is his for the taking. And when he hits the promise, there's no getting up. So that's his finishing brainbuster, I believe it is. Solid promo. He didn't seem 100% comfortable, but he's really young. I thought it was effective enough babyface promo for now. This was back to feeling like the promos I really enjoyed early in the reboot, which do a nice job of introducing characters and providing history between the competitors. So I thought these were solid, actually. I was feeling like I wasn't going to like this show, and it sort of won me over a little bit. We then get LSG versus Eli Isom. And again, Isom's really young. At some point, they talk about if you subtract the pandemic, he's basically got like a year of experience. So he's super, super green. Holds counters and near falls to start. A couple arm drags give Isom the advantage before he lands a drop kick. Springboard attempt by Isom, but LSG kicks him to the floor and follows up with stomps and chops. Chop exchange in the ring and a back elbow by LSG for a 1 count. Slow, kind of sloppy flurry by Isom, but a swinging neck breaker by LSG. Sorry, something's going off on the computer there. Lengthy cravat submission by LSG, and Isom eventually powers out and hits a neckbreaker. Northern Lights release, kip up running elbow, knee, and back suplex strung together by Isom, which was really nice. This guy's quick. Huge potential, I think, in Isom. Springboard moonsault to the outside by Isom. Straight jacket German with the bridge for 2 by Isom. LSG hits a series of impact moves with his signature names. One of them was called the Saints Flosion. The other ones I didn't quite catch. Isom rolls through and powers out of an LSG crossbody, lifts LSG to a fireman's carry, and hits a big air raid crash for 2. Really impressive. Isom's really winning me over in this match. You can probably tell. Isom spears LSG off the apron to the floor a la Big E. Very similar thing. LSG attacks outside and almost gets a count-out win. Forearm exchange as Isom fires up. Near falls for each. They each escape the other's finisher before Isom hits his promise brainbuster, which actually looks really cool for the win. Man, this match over-delivered for me. Isom is young and still really raw. Again, they said he's got about a year experience, but there is definitely massive potential here. He has, as WWE would say, all the tools. I mean it as a compliment, not as an insult, as they sometimes... When they say all the tools, it's sort of like code for like, is underachieving so far, right? Like, right, could be like really great,
loves
but
to have fun, or it's like right. Methodical.
So I just mean that this kid's really young and
they have
should
a lot of
good
code terminology.
It was likely smart to put him in with an experienced performer like LSG who knows him well, but I thought this over-delivered. I enjoyed this match quite a bit. Isom does look green in brief little flashes, but then he also looks really awesome in other spots. He's like fast, athletic, really strong for his size. He's got a really bright future and provided a very entertaining main event on a show that I thought was going to be a dud when it started. LSG in the role of the talented veteran that can pick up some wins but can also put over younger talent makes sense to me. This was meant to be a showcase for Eli Isom, I think, and I thought they were very successful in doing that. Mark Briscoe talks about episode 500 and reveals that he will wrestle his brother Jay, and they won't hold back. Jay Briscoe gets the reply and says, "May the best man win, and it may get nasty and bloody, but they'll shake hands after." This show sort of snuck up on me, because when it started, I saw that it was from before the pay-per-view again, and I was prepared not to enjoy it like I did last week, but I thought Johnson's promo was fantastic. That jump-started what I found to be a pretty enjoyable episode, despite the lack of star power or main event storylines. Despite not being a fan of Danhausen, I enjoyed his match with Brian Johnson. Thought they did a really good job, character-wise, throughout that as well. LSG and Isom cut solid promos added to their match. We got 2 quick reveals for matches of the 500th episode. As I said, the main event over-delivered. Really enjoyed it. They're hoping to build a star on Isom, and I'm starting to believe that might be possible. He was really impressive. If I nitpick, the Briscoes promo following the main event seemed poorly placed. I would have liked the show to end with that really strong main event, with Isom celebrating rather than a promo after that didn't involve him. The fact that this feels like another episode disconnected from the main stories and feuds hurts it a little bit, but the quality of the show offered some good in-ring and some decent promos. So I'm going to give it a B+ this week, and I am pleasantly surprised after fearing a repeat of giving this another D-level grade. So overall, a very fun show. I recommend checking out Eli Isom and the Brian Johnson promo.
Nice.
All right. And now it's time to talk about some Impact Wrestling from the show this week. So let's do that now. So the show starts with a recap of the brawl between Callis, Omega, the Good Brothers, and Swan, Willie Mack, and Eddie Edwards, followed by highlights of James Storm's 1000th match from last week's episode. We then see Callis, Omega, and the Good Brothers entering the building as the intro music for the show hits. And then we get Decay make their entrance as the show starts with Tenille Dashwood, Nevaeh, and Alicia. Yay, Alicia gets more TV time than anyone I know. Versus Rosemary, Jordan, Grace, and Havoc. So Alicia gets thrown around by Grace and then Rosemary to start before Tenille very reluctantly tags in to face Rosemary. Tenille escapes to the floor but gets taken out by Havoc. Action is outside as a table is set up and Grace makes a scary suicide dive to take out Caleb after he pulled Tenille off the table. She's really fast, and Caleb kind of had to save her on this one a little bit. We get a neck breaker back in the ring by Tenille to Jordan Grace for a 2 count. The heels, I guess, isolate Grace in the corner and make frequent tags. I'm not sure when Alicia became a heel exactly, but I guess she is for this match. I don't know, just sort of whatever they need her to do, I guess. Hot tag to Rosemary, and she dominates Alicia. Alicia fights back with awful-looking forearms and a takedown for 2. Rosemary hits her finisher, and Nevaeh breaks up the pin. Nevaeh and Havoc battle on the apron. Remember, they're a tag team that split up officially last week.
Oh, yeah.
Leads to a Russian leg sweep by Nevaeh from the apron through the table that was set up earlier. So back in the ring, Rosemary catches Alicia coming off the rope and hits the Red Wedding, which is like a fireman's carry into an implant DDT kind of for the win. It looked kind of cool. A decent opener, short and a little bit chaotic. I'm not sure I understand the teams fully. And Alicia did way too much, while Tenille, Havoc, and Nevaeh did almost nothing in this match. So I thought that was an odd choice to take the one woman who, sorry, Alicia, can't wrestle and let her wrestle for a whole bunch. But anyways, not a lot of actual wrestling here by many of the knockouts, but it was okay by by Impact standards for an opener. Striker and D'Lo run down the card for this weekend's Hardcore Justice and hype the 6-man main event coming up tonight. I'll go over that card a little bit later in the show, not so much here. Then Matt Cardona is backstage talking to Mean Gia. She asks about his response to Myers refusing Cardona's challenge. And Cardona says he's happy about it because he didn't come here to team with Myers or really to fight him. He came here to prove himself and his fans right. And he wants a challenge for tonight, and he'll face Jake something. Jake won't make his name off Cardona, who is his catchphrase, I guess, is always ready.
With a Z.
Really generic babyface, but acceptable promo. It was that, me and my fans believe in me sort of thing, which is not my favorite, but it's fine. He's a babyface, so it was acceptable. Susan is sitting in a chair, looking groggy and kind of out of it as Deonna Purrazzo tries to get her attention. What appears to be a doctor, because he's in like a white coat sort of thing, shows up to see Susan, tells her that her time has come, and then the screen starts glitching and jumping, whatever, sort of implying that Su Yung, I would assume, is returning at Hardcore Justice, because that would make sense, right? Yeah, I agree, because Susan has been by far the worst version of Susan's character. So super short, and again, if it means the departure of Susan and the return of Su Yung, I'm all for it. We then get Matt Cardona, Jake something match. Jake hits a shoulder block early. Cardona uses his speed to knock Jake to the floor with a drop kick. Later, Jake hits a clothesline, sending Cardona to the mat outside. Cardona hits a basement drop kick, but Jake gains the upper hand back in the ring. Jake batters Cardona with strikes, but Cardona fights back with a neck breaker. Cardona hits a face wash kick in the corner for a 2 count. Jake goes for a power bomb, but Cardona, I don't even know what I was going to say there. Words are hard. I try to go so fast through this sometimes.
English hard.
Cardona counters with a Hurricane Rana to the floor. Brian Myers charges from the ramp and attacks both men, running them into the ring apron before sending Cardona eye first into the corner of the steps. I guess because Myers has an eye injury and wears an eye patch, it's eye for an eye. So he drops Cardona's eye on the corner. Myers grabs the mic and says that he has reconsidered Cardona's offer and he accepts the match at Final Resolution. I thought this was a nice weaselly heel thing to do, right? Now that he's come out and injured Cardona, then he'll take the match, right? So I thought that was fine. Myers does some pretty good heel work. This was a pretty slow match that really never got anywhere before the attack by Myers. I don't love this use of Jake because I think he can do better. I think he's a talent that should get more focus and attention on Impact. So for him being in sort of like a throwaway match to build another feud, I wasn't a huge fan of. Myers is a good Weasley heel who accepts a match now that his opponent's been weakened, and that makes sense to me. Triple XL approached Trey backstage and asked if he's ready to get his butt kicked. Because if you remember, Sammy has basically said that he's going to take Triple XL on in a match this week, and he's going to hope that Trey shows up to be his partner, right? So Triple XL are reminding Trey of that and sort of mocking Trey, I guess, because Trey gets really mad somehow. Trey accuses them of not watching the show since they should know that Trey said last week he's not Sammy's friend or Sammy's hero, and Trey won't be showing up to help Sammy tonight. Larry says that those are the words of a man that lacks passion. Uh-oh, Trey's triggered. And Triple XL walks away. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it. Trey Miguel is awful on the mic. I don't believe a thing he says. He's like the opposite of Brian Johnson, where everything he says is believable. I don't believe anything Trey says. He sounds like a kid doing his first like local play. It takes me out of what he's doing every time. So we then get a Violent by Design vignette. Eric Young is focused on Diener's failures and the consequences for those failures. His failure, meaning Diener, gives the disease opportunity, but Diener will not fail today. He must do it alone, and if he fails again, there will be larger consequences. But he knows that Diener will prove tonight that this world belongs to them. Solid promo, but it really doesn't offer anything new. Just more of the Diener needs to make up for losing to Jake something.
Wait, so if he's competing at Hardcore Justice, is he injured? Or maybe they taped it?
I don't think Young's competing. I think Violent by Design. I know, but I don't think it's
But then
him.
there's 4 people on Team Dreamer.
So maybe they'll just super protect him, or it's recorded. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I would assume
you're right,
it's recorded because they usually tape stuff.
Young is seriously injured, so if he is in the match at all, I'm guessing it was recorded.
Right, and just knowing them, they usually tape stuff.
They do. So we get Triple XL versus Sami Callihan and maybe Trey Miguel. So Trey's music hits after Sammy's entrance, but Trey does not appear. Seconds later, his music hits again, and he walks down with his super angry face on, because he's got to let us know. So this doesn't make sense to me, because Triple XL barely said anything to him. They just said he lacks passion, and now he's so fired up and furious that he has to come down. So that's
I'll show you who has passion.
Right, so his motivation to come down, we're told, isn't to help Sami Callihan at all. It's because Triple XL made him so angry that he wanted to come fight them. So he's there to fight Triple XL, not to help Sami. Which, from the promo that just happened, it doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. Trey dropkicks AC at the corner and hits a flurry on Larry until he gets caught by a Larry D pop-up knee, which actually looked pretty good. Insecurity to Larry sends him to the floor as Trey backs up, looking for a suicide dive, but Sami tags himself in, sort of unwanted by Trey. Sami hits a boot and a springboard clothesline to knock AC off the apron. Trey makes a blind tag. Again, it's sort of them not working cohesively as a team, obviously. So Trey tags in blind, hits AC with knee strikes before getting caught and hit with a side slam. Triple XL try to pull Trey apart, so that one has the ankles, one has the wrists, and they're stretching him apart, and then they just sort of launch him into the air and let him land flat on his back. Trey escapes, hits a springboard DDT to Larry. Trey climbs the ropes in his corner, and obviously Sami tags himself in. So this part was a little contrived, right? Like, Sami and Trey keep going for moves from their own corner when the whole point is they know the other guy just is going to tag in, you know what I mean? So it kind of didn't make sense. Why wouldn't you just use any other corner in the match? Trey tries to hit Sami as their team is fully breaking down now, but Sami throws Trey to Larry, who catches him in a powerbomb grip. Sami then kicks Larry D's leg out from under him, and this allowed Trey's to hit a Hurricane Rana, so sort of reluctantly working together. Sami yells at Trey, who tags himself back in. Brief flurry from AC, stopped by a Trey sling blade after jumping off the top. Double dive by Sami and Trey to take out Triple XL on either side of the ring. Sami throws Larry back in. Trey hits his hip disconnector and the hourglass submission that forces Larry to tap out. And the reluctant team of Trey and Sami Callihan win here. I thought it was okay, but again, Trey and Sami repeatedly going to their own corner for offense, which obviously is leading to a blind tag from the other uncooperative partner, looked kind of silly. They could have just done that from any other part of the ring. Triple XL didn't do much in this, other than just further the story between Sammy and Trey, which I haven't minded so far, other than anytime Trey has to do any sort of acting. But I like Sammy's role in this, and the story's not bad. It's just Trey's not executing it really well, in my opinion. Swingers Palace time, buddy. Woo! Yay! Storm, Sabin, and Harris are playing blackjack, and Storm and Sabin give their chips to Harris and leave. I have no idea what the point of this was. I even went back and watched it again because it was only a few seconds. Are they trying to ditch Harris? I don't know, but it was a dumb segment. Anyways, it's sort of explained later a little bit, I guess. We'll see. We then get Chris Sabin. I'm sighing already. You love it when I sigh in Impact. You prefer when I don't like it. So we get Chris Sabin.
More when it's like so awful, it's funny.
Yeah. Chris Sabin with James Storm versus Diener. Shoulder tackle, backslide for 2 by Sabin right away. Sabin controls Diener with his speed and precision offense early. Diener gains control with repeated strikes, and instead of a clean break in the corner. Yes. He chokes Sabin and lands crossface blows, body slam, and knee drop. Such an old school combo, I thought, by Diener for a 2 count. Diener traps Sabin's head in the corner and runs across the ring to kick Sabin as his head is trapped there. Diener targets Sabin's neck briefly before both collide on their simultaneous crossbody attempts. Corner boot, Fisherman's Brainbuster for 2 by Sabin. Crossbody from the top by Sabin, but Diener rolls through for a near fall. Running knee to Sabin's midsection as he's stretched across the top turnbuckle. Powerbomb for 2 by Diener. Each counter the other before an eye gouge, an illegal pin attempt by Diener that the ref catches and stops him. Diener argues with the ref and turns around right into the cradle shock from Sabin, and Sabin picks up the win off of the cradle shock. Eric Young appears on the screen with Joe Doring.
Wow, you did it again.
It's Joe Doring's evil twin brother. No,
Doring.
It was Joe Doring. He's choking out Harris, and I guess this was sort of the point. They left Harris behind. Violent by Design got a hold of him and are like attacking him. Rhino hits the ring, and he and Diener take out Storm and Sabin. Diener and Rhino force Sabin and Storm to watch as EY and Doring are about to beat down Harris, and then it sort of cuts off there. This was a pretty fun but short TV match. I actually thought it was kind of entertaining. Diener loses again, and it has to deal with whatever the consequences are from EY and Violent by Design. It was easily the best match of the show to this point, so I thought it was a decent little TV match. Fulton and Austin are interrupted backstage by Josh Alexander, who announced a triple threat for the X Division title, as you announced in the news, I think, right? At what was the next pay-per-view? Not Hardcore Justice, but the one after
Rebellion.
That. There you go. They bicker, and Dreamer shows up to make a tag match at Hardcore Justice between Fulton and Austin, TJP and a mystery partner, and Josh Alexander and a mystery partner. So that could be a fun match, depending on who the mystery partners are. I'd hope it was someone off the roster, but I don't know. We'll see. Since the secret door or whatever is open now. Forbidden Door. We can hope it could be anyone from anywhere, right? So that is intriguing, but it also sets me up for disappointment, possibly, if it's just like someone on the roster already.
Wait, the mystery tag partner?
Yeah.
Oh, I just saw a thing about that.
So EY runs into Dreamer backstage, and they end up face to face, and Dreamer says to bring his boys to Hardcore Justice, and Dreamer will bring his. Young agrees and tells Dreamer to remember that it was his idea. I guess the idea being you guys are just going to get destroyed, and remember it was your idea when that happens. It was fine, I guess. This is a last-second way to add a multi-team match to the pay-per-view. It seems odd that you're making matches like 2 days before your pay-per-view, but whatever. We then get a Jazz career retrospective video looking at every stage of her career. She ends saying that she will win the Knockouts title. I hope not. This was a decent package. I'm sorry, I don't care about Jazz at this point. I'm not really looking forward to this match, even though I'm a huge fan of Deonna Purrazzo. I don't know if Purrazzo can pull a good match out of Jazz at this point, but if anybody can, it's Deonna on this roster for sure, so we'll see. Purrazzo is then interviewed, and she puts over Jazz and ODB for blazing a trail, but Purrazzo's 26, that seems really young, in her prime, and she's building the foundation for the next generation. She will face Jazz by herself, and she will give back by retiring Jazz. I thought this was really solid. She's really good in this character, and she even put over Jazz a little bit and her accomplishments, which I always think is a smart idea. Even if you're a heel, find a way to sort of put the other person over. It's good for wrestling. High tide raises all boats, or whatever that saying is.
Something like that.
Tommy Dreamer now finds Brian Myers and reveals that Jake Something wants a match with him. Dreamer books Myers in the first ever, have you heard this match stipulation? Because you know how Impact likes to get creative, right? And sometimes it works.
Creative.
Yeah, but what was the last one they did? The Revolver? That was cool, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this is a first ever blind games match. A hardcore match with blindfolded competitors. Thoughts?
Oh, I just found it on Instagram. It says hardcore blindfold match.
Yes, that's what a blind games match is. I just said a hardcore.
But they didn't even say like that name.
Oh.
But anyways, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, nothing.
How are you supposed to be safe about that?
And
I
blindfold
guess
matches.
See.
I guess I was gonna say blindfold matches are sometimes bad already, but maybe if I can just grab a chair and hit somebody with it.
A legal match.
Yep. So nothing like filling out the card for a pay-per-view 2 days before it takes place. So here's another match added. Might be a decent match, I guess, but this stipulation makes it kind of less likely, I think. I don't love blindfold matches, but we'll see. Striker.
Myers is already basically blindfolded.
Yeah, so I guess he's halfway there already. He should have the advantage.
Whoa, we're halfway there.
Striker and D'Lo run down the now complete card for Hardcore Justice, and it is this. Hardcore War match, Violent by Design versus Tommy Dreamer's group of whoever.
So what, that's just...
Doc Gallows in a singles match against Black Taurus. And if he ends up squashing or convincingly destroying Black Taurus, I'm not going to be happy.
Or not trying.
Black Taurus is cool. Chairly Legal match versus... and get who do you see who the competitors are in this one?
Yes.
Mahabali, Shera, and Hernandez. As you would say, no thanks.
That is no thanks. And the name is so stupid.
Chairly Legal. 3-way tag team match between Ace, Austin, Madman, Fulton, TJP, mystery partner, Josh Alexander, mystery partner. Could be fun.
Can I say who it is?
You know who it is?
Yeah.
I don't want to be spoiled. No, don't tell me. Blind Games, blindfold match, Myers versus Jake something. That's a hardcore blindfold match. Number 1 contenders weapons match for the women. Alicia Edwards, of course, because she can't not be on a card. Havoc.
She's like
one of these things is not like the other, or whatever that song is.
She's like Zoe Stark, but like the opposite of what you want.
So Alicia, Havoc, Jordan Grace, Rosemary, Susan, Tennille. Who knows? Could be crazy.
Oh, wait, you said Jordan Grace, right?
Hopefully it over-delivers, yes.
Okay.
And then Ultimate Jeopardy, title versus career match for the Impact Knockouts Championship, Deonna Purrazzo defending against Jazz. That's your lineup for that match, for that show tonight, going up against WrestleMania. Good luck!
Imagine that match is her defending against an entire music genre.
Yeah, it might be. It could be, very much so. Let's hope she wins. Main event, Rich Swann, Eddie Edwards, Willie Mack versus Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. So the ring clears and Omega takes control of Swann early, but Swann battles back. The faces take turns diving to the outside, and Gallows can't be bothered to sell or to even be knocked off his feet, I told you. Faces triple team Anderson after a commercial break. Gallows is in and controls Edwards with his slow, plodding, punch-based offense. I was not in a good mood to watch Gallows at this point. Omega is in next with more basic offense to Edwards. Heels isolate Edwards and make quick tags to punch and elbow Edwards before a chin lock by Gallows, just highlighting this amazing offense. Punches, elbows, and a chin lock. Edwards finally fights his way out and tags Willie Mack. Mack is on fire and hits many of his signature moves to Anderson, including the fallaway slam, moonsault to Omega and Anderson. Gallows' distraction shifts the momentum as we head to the final commercial break. Anderson misses a move in the corner, but Mack can't quite make the tag as Gallows stops him. Gallows walks around and hits more punches before tagging Omega back in. Swann finally gets in and takes out everyone with quickness in his kicks. Tandem offense by Mack and Swann to Omega for a near fall before Edwards comes in. Good Brothers clear the ring and focus their attack on Eddie Edwards. The Blue Impact, which is a patella drop brainbuster by Omega, that's what it's, I guess, apparently called, to Carl Anderson for a near fall. Signature Parade ends with Willie Mack taking a V-trigger. Triple splash by the heels, broken up by Swann from the top rope. Swann escapes a one-wing angel and hits a 450 for a 2 count as Callis pulls Swann off of the cover. Magic Killer stopped by Edwards, Springboard Cutter by Swann, Boston Knee Party by Edwards, and a Phoenix Splash to Carl Anderson, who takes the pin here for the loss. A decent main event match, started really slowly and basic, but kind of picked up near the end. The final few minutes were quite fun, but really nothing special in general. Just overall thoughts quickly. Didn't really enjoy the show. It felt like it dragged. The wrestling wasn't very impressive, and lots of short segments were included just to fill out the card for Saturday's show. In-ring, nothing really stood out. Diener Sabin was a decent short TV match, and the main event was okay, but nothing here was spectacular. Basically, just an interesting note. The worst match on an average episode of Dynamite would be better than almost every match on Impact. And I don't think it's the performer's fault, so that's not who I'm taking shots at. It's just there's something about the style they're allowed to work on Dynamite, right? Like same thing with WWE main roster. There's never been more talent than there is now. It's just they're not allowed to showcase it. So I think that might be the issue here. These 4-5 minute TV matches, it's really hard for anybody to look good in that short amount of time. They have 2 hours. They need to sort of give people more time to work. I'm not thrilled about the card for Hardcore Justice, but really how many people do they expect to watch it when they're going against night 1 of WrestleMania, right? Not a great show. C+ from me. Hoping for better next week. Probably will check out Hardcore Justice, but it definitely won't be today. So I may do a solo mission for that.
Yeah, it's already happened partially because it started at 3 p.m., which is weird.
Oh, so they're trying to avoid WrestleMania then. I didn't even know that. So I'll probably check it out and may do a quick solo mission.
That's how I know the secret partner.
Right, later this week. So stay tuned for that if you're at all interested in Impact Wrestling. I'll probably talk about that later.
That question answers itself, I think.
But anyways, that leads us into our final section every week that apparently you have a bunch for, but we're already over 3 hours.
Fat, juicy figuring
Try to keep it somewhat brief. We're at 3:08 already.
I'll do what I can.
That last segment will be Figuring It Out with Jack.
Yeah, we got some WrestleMania reveals on Thursday, so it's a big, fat, juicy figuring it out. And so we're starting with the Elite 86 images. This is the SummerSlam wave for this year. They've moved the SummerSlam wave into the main line, which I think is smart because it allows more figures to get in.
Yep.
Which the usual 6, and then also Chase variant. So we got Seth Rollins, which is unfortunately from last year, 2020. So it's the pink Rey Mysterio mockery Messiah Rollins.
Yep.
Yeah. He comes with the vest and the kendo stick. He's got the gloved hand. He's got a new man bun head sculpt, which does look pretty spot on, but he looks pretty depressed for this head sculpt. It's a good figure, but obviously I am completely disappointed. We got Carmella from 2018. She looks pretty nice, blonde hair. From when she lost the SmackDown title to Charlotte and Becky Lynch turned heel. She's got like these cloth pants that go on, which is kind of cool, but she's supposed to have a jacket and she doesn't have the women's title, which is weird, but whatever. We got The Fiend from 2020, and if you got this or his SummerSlam figure from last year, you would not know the difference, because literally the only thing that's different is he comes with the Universal title instead of the lantern, and his pants are maybe a little brighter, which is more accurate. But so yeah, basically another Fiend re-release. It looks good, but like it's the same.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna talk too much about that. We got Sid Justice from 1991, which is good because I missed out on one of the greatest figures of all time, that Psycho Sid. It was really hard to find.
The one that was everywhere all the time?
No, what? It was really hard to find.
There'd be like one other figure and then like 12 of Sid
every
store we went to for a while.
He's got like the ref tank top and cloth pants, which you can take off, and he's wearing a red singlet and red knee pads, so that's cool if you want like ref attire, that you could get that, and he looks pretty good. We got The Miz from 2018, and this looks like near identical to the Miz I already have, but I would like a new Miz. So yeah, it looks pretty good, white and black attire. We got Triple H, from 1998, I believe, or was it 99? 98 or 99, I'm pretty sure it's 98, in that purple long tights when he had the ladder match with The Rock. They look pretty blue though, so it's kind of weird. He's also got a cloth DX shirt and the water bottle. Chase Variant's Triple H, which is from Saturday night or Sunday night Heat. I say Saturday night because that's what it is in my universe.
Right.
I put on Saturday.
Yeah.
It's from Heat on, I think, January 3rd, 99. It's a red attire with yellow logos. Same accessories though. And the Chase Variant's Colonel Mustafa, aka Iron Sheik. And apparently Colonel Mustafa is a former WWE champion. Wink, wink. So I find that an odd one, but that's from 1991 when Triangle of Terror faced Hogan and Warrior, I think it was. And Legends Series 11 has been revealed. This is kind of an interesting series because some of them are surprising. We've got Macho Man in the classic pink and yellow from WrestleMania 3.
Yep.
He's got like the classic purple shirt with the sunglasses and Macho Man.
That shirt is legendary.
He's got a pointer hand. He's got Mike holding hands. He's got pinky finger hands. And he's got like a coffee pod thing, kind of like the Keurig. I don't understand why. He's also got the sunglasses and bandana. A surprising one, I think I've heard this rumored, but surprising for the accessories, we got ECW Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah.
So this is rumored the black and gray attire.
Right.
And he comes with a new championship, the ECW television title, which is always cool to get
Gonna
new
want
titles.
That, yeah.
Right. And I think it's a pretty good looking belt.
Yep.
I think that's interesting. We haven't had many Bam Bam Bigelow's. I think he was in one of the original Legends Elite Waves, and then Now Forever figure. And then we got Big John Studd, who his only other figures in that Heenan Family Hall of Fame 4-pack. They basically just true effects his head scan.
Right.
He does look pretty cool. He's got his entrance coat. He looks good. He's big. And then we got Scott Hall, his face is pretty gross. It's just like, well, his face is okay, but just the hair looks like placed on
Hair's
really
hard
bad.
for them to do sometimes. I
yeah,
feel like.
This one I think even the face isn't great either. It just looks really weird. He's wearing a black and red NWO Wolfpack gear. He's got a Wolfpack sleeveless t-shirt. And it doesn't look great. He's got a WCW mic as well. Those look fine. Then we got an Elite ringside exclusive. It is an ECW Cactus Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty cool. He's got an ECW cloth sleeveless t-shirt and another first time championship, which is the ECW Tag Team Championship. It's like the later version. It's not the one, I don't know if you remember, but they had the ECW tag title that looks exactly like the Intercontinental title.
I don't remember.
But that's the one I think they're supposed to have, but I feel like they didn't include that just as to not confuse certain people who wouldn't know about that ECW one, but I think it looks pretty good. Like, it's a cool ringside exclusive. I think it should have had more accessories, like more weapons and stuff, because it's Cactus Jack and it's a ringside exclusive.
Right.
But whatever. We got Ultimate Edition 10, which is The Rock, which is like his bald look when he returned in 2012, 2013. Well, more 2013 because he doesn't have the goatee. He's just got interchangeable hands and heads, and John Cena, like Chain Gang, John Cena, he literally comes with the 3 same heads he came with in his last Ultimate Edition, which was pretty recent. He's got hands and heads, and then the necklace. I'm sure they'll have more accessories. I think The Rock even has the 2013 WWE title, but like they have his side plates on it, like the Rock side plates, which would be a cool first. And we got an Ultimate Edition fan takeover line, like where they vote the attires. We've got Jeff Hardy, I think, from his WWE title win at Armageddon 2008. He's got an alternate screaming head and his signature pose hands and the spinner WWE title. Then we got Hulk Hogan in the classic red and yellow. Same 3 heads that from last time, just without the black beard, because obviously not Hollywood. Got the bandana, got the weight belt, got hands, and you got the Winged Eagle title, of course. Next, we got Championship Showdown 2-pack Series 4, which is going to be Matt Riddle and AJ Styles, which is going to be from July 17th, 2020 on SmackDown. Riddle's kind of wearing like a golden purple, and then AJ's got the black and red, which is the kind of attire that one of the attires I figured it would be, just because that's when they faced off.
Mm-hmm.
We got John Morrison and Kofi Kingston from that odd triple threat match, remember, for the tag titles at Mania?
Oh, yeah.
Miz was out.
Yep.
So Kofi Kingston's wearing like the all white, which I think is inaccurate because it's supposed to be like partially colored.
Yep.
And then Morrison's like, it's basically a basic version of his, or it might be, yeah, it's like a basic version of his Elite. And then we got Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins from Money in the Bank 2020. McIntyre appears to be wearing his WrestleMania attire, or might be the same. And Rollins is wearing his black and silver attire he wore like basically most of the year, but he's got like his, like the jacket with the feather neck sculpted on, which looks really cool. And he's got like the man bun head sculpt again, but with like a smirking expression.
Nice.
I think that looks really good, honestly. I think that's pretty good. If that was like a basic, I'd probably buy that. And then we got Championship Showdown 2-packs 5 have been revealed with just render images. We got Chyna and Trish Stratus, which I don't know when that would be from. Probably 2001, I guess, because that's when Chyna was women's champion. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
We got Big Boss Man British Bulldog was probably like 2000, because I think that's when Bulldog came back. It's like he's wearing jeans. It's like Attitude Era Bulldog. It's a really odd choice. Probably a hardcore title match, something. And then Austin and Mankind, which is pretty standard. We got upcoming render images for basic figures for Damian Priest, who has a normal figure and a chase variant. But literally the chase variant is just him coming with the rib wrap, so they're the same figure. It's kind of lame. We got Dexter Lumis.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We got Jake Atlas, gross, in black with green logos. And then chase variant Jake Atlas with white and gray logos. And then we got
There is a lot this week.
Yeah, there is. Basic 121 revealed. We got Bailey in the light blue, heel Bailey, role model attire. Pretty nice. We got like 2001 Kane, who looks pretty cool. We got Silver Surfer Rey Mysterio from the render images, because these are also render images. The Rey looks really weird. I hope they improve it, because it looks odd. We got Roman Reigns with the painted on Wreck Everyone and Leave shirt, so that's pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
And we got Apollo Crews in gray and black and white. And Chase ran Apollo Crews with black and blue logos. He's got like a kind of a mouth open expression. We got Elite 87 render images. We got Candice LeRae in her purple attire and her heel attire. She's got one of those like weird entrance coats or whatever that she has now.
Yeah.
She looks pretty good. We got Asuka with her updated attire with the green face paint, kind of like that black kind of fishnet shirt she kind of wears or whatever. She comes with a pretty cool mask. I don't think we've had an Asuka in a while, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
My favorite, Santos Escobar.
Yes.
Because so he comes with the NXT Cruiserweight title, and he also comes with an alternate head. That's the El Hijo del Fantasma mask, so you could use him as either one, which I think is really cool. Because I got the Andrade and Zelina Vega battle pack, and it came with the La Sombra mask, so I use him as La Sombra. We got the Warlord, who I think is a replacement for Kushida, who's being pushed back a bit. So that's interesting. And we got Apollo Crews in the blue with gray logos in the new U.S. title. Chase Variant Apollo Crews, I think, is actually better. It's like white with like kind of beige logos, and I think that one looks pretty nice. I always like the white attires. They're pretty cool.
For sure.
We got Rock and Sock Connection Elite 2-pack revealed with render images. The Rock's pretty standard. He looks like to be from Survivor Series 98, where they screwed Mankind in the tournament.
Right.
Mankind's wearing blue pants, which I think is a different look, and they got Mr. Socko, obviously, and Mr. Rocco, which is like the one that Mankind gave to The Rock, I think. I think that's his name. I honestly don't remember. But that's kind of cool. Elite 88 render images for MVP, which is his current look. And Roman Reigns, who I really like, because he's got the updated gold gauntlet I showed you, and he's got the new back tattoo, which is cool, because gotta have
accurate.
that.
Yeah.
So those are pretty cool. I really like the Roman Reigns. Survivor Series Elites revealed. There's 4 figures, but only 2 have been shown in render images. We got Bret Hart from 96, which is against Austin, and then we got Hogan in red and yellow. And let's be honest, that could be from anything, because like it's Hogan.
It's standard gear.
Right, and Bret comes with the pink chair, and Hogan just has hands. He looks like he's high. He's like smiling, like it looks weird. And then we got retro figures, I think, are set to return. You know, like the small ones, the Hasbro figures, right?
Yeah.
And we got a Roddy Piper and a Mean Gene Okerlund, so that's kind of cool.
Yep.
The Reckon figures are continuing with their next series. You got pretty standard ones for Undertaker, Triple H, and Randy Orton. Undertaker's got a weird bendy chair. Triple H is like the big weight thingy that's bendable, and then Randy Orton has like a breakable punching dummy.
Yep.
And then Seth Rollins comes to the table, but I saved him for last because he looks pretty interesting. He's wearing a white attire with like beige designs on it, and I had no idea what this was from. And then while I was watching Cultaholic video, it's actually from WrestleMania 36. It's just they don't have the Messiah logo on this or his other 2 figures that have been revealed, because I guess Christian people or whatever. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but if they're offended, whatever. So that's not there, and he's not wearing a glove, so because usually he does. So this is, but it's like I wish they'd use this in an Elite, because it's a white attire in Seth Rollins. So anyways, so those are whatever. I don't care about those. And the mysterious top picks figures that were revealed on that one day are the top picks 2022 line. 'Cause as we know, it's 2022. And just as a reminder, it includes an Elite 84 re-release for Roman Reigns when he returned, Thugonomics John Cena, Drew McIntyre from Rumble 20 when he won, and Rey Mysterio from Royal Rumble 2019. Masters of the WWE Universe, it's like the He-Man stuff, but WWE. Those are going on with Series 7. We got Bret Hart, Andre the Giant, Sergeant Slaughter, and Junkyard Dog. Don't care enough to go in depth on those. And Jushin Thunder Liger.
3.5 hours here.
Yes. Jushin Thunder Liger is getting another Storm Collectibles exclusive figure, but this one's pretty different actually. It's from his 1989 debut attire. It looks way different. His mask looks kind of like the kendo masks. And I do kind of want to get a Liger figure, but I'd probably get one of the ones that like is his usual look with like the horns and the big.
Right. Yeah, standard.
Or I would wait till the price drops on this one, because currently, if you want to pre-order, it's $65.99 American.
Nope. No thanks.
Yeah, it does have like a lot of hands, I think, and it does look pretty high quality, but again, still probably won't get it. That's it. I told you it was a chunky one.
That was an epic figuring it out, but that's good. Lots of cool stuff, I guess, for you.
Yes.
But anyways, that brings us to the end of another episode 38 of the FNS Wrestling Podcast. Again, check out our WrestleMania preview if you get a chance. We put that out early this week, and just stay tuned for some sort of WrestleMania review coming out maybe Monday or Tuesday-ish. And then we'll see. I'll probably watch Hardcore Justice. I may talk that. So just if you subscribe, follow, whatever, you'll know when we release new stuff.
If you've made it to the end, congratulations.
Yeah, for sure. We'll be back next Saturday and probably at least once before then. So hopefully you can come back and see us. As always, we thank you for any time you want to give to us to listen to us discuss wrestling each week. We really appreciate it. And we will see you next Saturday for sure, and maybe before. And until then, take care.
Peace.